Oh fuck, I need to like kind of change my screen layout. Give me. Actually, no one's even here. I don't know why I'm even talking. I'm like, oh, hang on a second. Like, there's people waiting, and there most certainly is not. There most certainly is not. Okay, I think I figured out like the perfect layout. I switched my thing. I need to like chill out, drink some water for a minute. I don't know why. This is the first time I've sat down all day. I've been like Zooming all fucking day. Oh, gee, thanks. You're early. Good job, bestie. Thank you. I'm never early. I've been like Zooming around all day, and so I'm just like, because the slides were coming in last minute this time, you guys. Not from Evie. Evie did a great job, as always, from me. I didn't finish my end of the bargain until like 30 minutes ago. And I just ate some Trader Joe's soup. That was like not really a vibe. I'm gonna be honest, it was not really a vibe. Not really a vibe. I'm gonna like give people time to join, time to hang out. I'm gonna eat some of these chips. I'm gonna move the mic away from me just so I'm not like smacking super hard. These are the best. Let me put you on. If you have not already been put on, I'm putting you on right now. Did I fuck up my chat? Let me see. Oh my God. Okay, now I did it. Cool. My closest Trader Joe's is like 45 minutes away. That is tough. I'm gonna be honest with you. That is tough. Closest Trader Joe's is 45 minutes away. Mine used to be like 25 minutes away. But now, that's where my work is. So I'm there all the time. So I just go on the way home from work. You know, average day carrying the chat right now. Carrying the chat. Absolutely carrying it. I guess I was about to be like, why isn't anyone here? And I realized I'm early, and I'm literally never early. I'm usually like 15 minutes late. So everyone probably thinks I'm late. So we're just gonna hang out. Hi, Kirby Face. I was actually thinking, I feel like just recently, like the last couple streams, I've really had like, hi, Quarter Life Crisis. I'm about to talk about you. Oh my God, hi, people are here now. Hope Gastel, hey, Daphne, hey, Cole99, I heart you, first time chat, thank you for being here. But anyway, there it goes, 59 people are here. Welcome to the fucking party, you guys. Thank you, Avery829, for subscribing with Prime. I was gonna tell you, I felt like, sorry for eating, I felt like the last stream is where I really got to know people. Like, I feel like I've memorized some people's usernames and like I'm starting to build rapport, which I really, really liked because Twitch is really different from TikTok. I'm gonna take my glasses off, I think. Actually, no, I can't see. Twitch is really different from TikTok, and it's just like a very different vibe it's more different than I thought it would be, and I'm doing it differently than I thought it would, but I'm really enjoying it. If I can fucking roll my chair over, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm having a good time. Let me catch up in the chat a little bit now that I'm like done ranting. Is my chewing annoying? If it's annoying, I'll stop and eat this later, but if it's not, I'm gonna keep eating. Yes, there's everyone. Average Day was early. Average Day gets fucking Star Student Award. Oh, if you're a subscriber, try and do the emote in the chat. I made them. I don't know if they work or not. I have no idea how it works. Can I do it? Look, you can do a baby crying redacted. That's me crying in high school. Thank you. The other ones are still pending. Like, they're still like pending review, which the internet says 48 hours, and I did it Friday. So like, I don't know what the fuck, it's not working, but I added their support thing. Oh my God, let me tell y'all what fucking happened. I got kicked out of the Creator Fund. I'm banned from the Creator Fund until October. I'm so mad. I'm literally so mad. Also, I'm like dying at the amount of like me crying in the chat. Like, it's for violating community guidelines, and like, this is what I think happened. So the video that I okay, so let me backtrack. TikTok doesn't like it this is like the spilling tea, because I made the title like education horror stories and spilling tea. This is the tea part. So TikTok doesn't like it when you talk about other platforms like YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, like anything like that, because obviously they're a for-profit business, and so like they want people to stay on their platform. I can understand that. So I posted a compilation of clips from Twitch, because obviously I want to like promote my Twitch on TikTok, because like that's where the people are. But like every time I do those videos, it just like never goes that hot. They always really flop. Like I've noticed the ones where I don't explicitly say Twitch, they do way, way better than the ones if I write it out. So like because at first I was like, am I the flop? Like, am I the drama? Am I flopping? And I thought I was entering my flop era, which was fine. But anyway, what was I talking about? Okay, so like TikTok and Twitch have beef, I guess. I uploaded a compilation of streams, or a compilation of clips from streams. I didn't say Twitch, I didn't say anything in it. Like, I just said, like, I'll be streaming later, and I changed my bio to include history streamer. And then I wake up, and like, I posted that video, and it was stuck at 0 views. I posted about it on Twitter, and I was like, hey, why is this video stuck at 0 views? And people were like, oh, it's not showing up on your page. So I thought it like glitched out. So I screen recorded it, deleted it, and re-uploaded it, or I saved it, not screen recorded, I saved it, deleted it, and re-uploaded it without any caption, like without any text, without any caption, and that video is still up and has like 10 or 12,000 likes on it. Like it's like not gotten any dings at all. Like it's still, I've seen success emailing the TikTok community manager. If my manager's watching this, can you do that? Like mass emailing about one person works. Oh. So that video, like I re-uploaded it and it did fine. And then I got an alert saying like you have been banned from, or you have been like, you're suspended from the Creator Fund until October because of a violation of community guidelines. And I was like, what the fuck, when did I violate community guidelines? And then I looked down in my notifications and it was like, we've removed a video from your I resigned from teaching playlist because it violated community guidelines. And then it like wasn't working. So I think they dinged me for that video that got 0 views. But that's what's weird, is the exact same video is up and is still up. So I submitted an appeal. So I had 2 other times I got community guidelines. One time I like phrased something poorly and like the robot did it. I don't even remember what it was. And like the robot banned me, or the robot took the video down. So I was like, whatever. And I just left it alone. And then another time I was talking about getting vaccinated. And a bunch of Republicans like reported it. Not Republicans, but like anti-vaxxer Republicans. Not all Republicans are anti-vaxxers, I know that. But they all reported it. And so that one got violation of community guidelines, but then I appealed it and it got restored. But I heard even if it gets restored, it still counts as a ding against you. So I think it's like a 3 strikes, you're out for 6 months. And so like it kind of sucks, but I'm grateful that it wasn't another format. You know, like I'd rather get dinged from the Creator Fund than I would like lose access to my page or be banned from posting or anything like that. So another surge of people. What's up, y'all? We were chatting before we get started. So yeah, like it could be worse. Things could be worse. So like I'm not that mad at it. It sucks. I'm hoping the appeal works. I'm hoping sending some emails works. But we'll fucking see. That's so frustrating. I complain so much. Y'all, I was going through it yesterday. I actually need to apologize to my boyfriend because I was being like such a little demon, because I was on the first day of my period yesterday and I got banned from the Creator Fund, and something is wrong with my health insurance and it's causing problems, and like I can't deal with it because of the holiday, and like so much was happening yesterday and I was just so cranky and I was like just being awful, and I was like, I want to die right now. And I went to sleep so early and I feel so much better today. Like I was having such bad cramps. He like thought I was dying because I was laying on the couch and I was like because I was like, I literally felt like I was dying. I hated it. Oh my god, quarter life crisis. Thanks for becoming a tier 1 sub. What do I do if my best friend is seeing my ex behind my back? I would talk to them both about, actually no, I don't know what the relationship between you and your ex is like, so I don't know if you should talk to them. I think you should talk to your best friend about it. And I think a lesson that I wish I learned earlier in my life was to be transparent and to be honest and direct, because like trying to protect people's feelings or like not be confrontational, it's only going to cause more conflict. It's only going to make things worse. So like just be direct, tell the person how you feel, tell them they hurt your feelings, and like it's going to suck, but it'll be better once it's out in the open. So I would tell your best friend that. And honestly, if it was me, I would probably cut the person off, but I think it's always like appropriate to at least have a conversation. But I would just be like, hey, I found out this information. I'm extremely torn up about it. Like, can you tell me anything about like why this happened or whatever? If you think it would be beneficial to you to have the same conversation with your ex, go for it. But the best friend seems like more important to me. Yeah. Have a conversation and cut them off depending on how it goes. Exactly. Does your boyfriend watch your streams? Yeah. Not like the whole time. He comes like in and out. You know what I mean? But he'd be on here. He's a subscriber. Supporting women in tech. I just can't imagine seeing a friend's ex. Like, I'm sorry you shit talk that man. Why would I fuck him? No, literally. Like, you're shit talking him. I can't fuck a friend's. And, okay, so one, most of my friends are lesbians. So that makes it pretty easy. Because I don't identify as a lesbian. So that kind of, you know, makes things pretty straightforward. Two, my friends that are like into men are really different types than them. So I've like never even found myself in this scenario. You give off lesbian adjacent vibes. So one time, one of my students showed me this Instagram post that was like someone's story, and it was a picture of me, and it was like Miss Redacted gives off bi energy. Do you think she's bi? And it was a poll. And I was like, let me know when you have the results. Plus, I love my friends, but I don't want to be that close to them. I'm not going to be Eskimo sisters with my friends. Lesbian adjacent vibes. I need a t-shirt. I also feel like, especially in this outfit, this outfit is giving Portland. I have had this flannel since high school. I bought it at a thrift store in high school. I've never found a flannel that I like as much as it, because it's actually not a flannel. It's very thin, and I am permanently sweaty. Do you have fan accounts? No, they would just like... they would just post about me on like their little spam accounts sometimes, because I had a teacher account, like a private one for them, and they would like tag me and shit. This is a gays only. You give me kiss a drunk girl vibes, and that's about it. A kiss a girl drunk vibes. I've actually never done that. That's never been my energy. I don't drink much though, so okay. It's 7:40. This is what time I usually get on here. So let's go ahead and get into it. Brittany Broski and Trixie Miss Redacted. Brittany Broski and Trixie Mattel are giving off lesbian adjacent vibes. I'm honored to be in that trio. Honored, I tell you. Okay, so we're gonna go through education horror stories. I added a QR code to my Twitch stream. That will take you to the little, how do you talk? That'll take you to the Google form to submit one. So if like at any time it reminds you of something and you're like, oh my God, that happened to me, or something reminds you of something that you want to submit, you can do it in there. And I figured that'd be easier than me sending the link and stuff like that. It'll just be there the whole time. And we can like still send the link in the chat, because I know a lot of people watch Twitch on their TV. Okay, your hair is looking great. Thank you so much, Christy with a Y. I had it in like a twist clip all day, and then it gave me kind of like this Farrah Fawcett blowout, which is a vibe. Okay, so what the hell are we doing here? I go through these every time, like why I do this. Everyone thank Evie for our slides. They are the ones that, they are the one that like takes the Google form, makes it into the slides, which is awesome. So let's get into it. I'm gonna finish this bite, and I'm gonna chill with the chips. Shout out Evie. While I'm finishing my chip, there's Evie's page. That's their TikTok. You can follow them. You're so good. You need a snack? Bro, I'm sure. I'm glad the eating doesn't bother you, because on the next stream on Wednesday, do some math, think what date it is going to be on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the war on drugs, and I'll be celebrating. So, we have that to look forward to. Okay, so I graduated college in 2020, and that meant finding a job as a first-year teacher was a nightmare because no one knew what they were doing. What made it worse is I have a theater degree, and that was the kind of placement I was looking for. Can't wait for Wednesday stream. I knew y'all were going to be excited about that one. Just smashed some peeps. This feels like a FaceTime call. I have hot Cheeto fingers, you guys. I hate having hot Cheeto fingers. I got hired at a high school 2 weeks before school started and was expected to know how to create an online classroom and be prepared to take on my first set of kids and know all the school protocols in that short amount of time. Since it was so last minute, I was hired as a long-term sub for the entire school year, but I had my own classroom, taught specific curriculum, and had all the same responsibilities as a full-time teacher. Let me just say it was stressful. I asked to apply for the full-time job for my position for the next year and later had an interview. They should have made you like full-time within like 2 weeks. I got hired as a long-term sub for the same reason, and they just had to like finish figuring out my credentials stuff, and then I got inputted as a teacher like a week later, like the day before the first day of school. So like, and then they back paid me. Like they should have done that right away. Okay. I was asked to I was hyped the whole time. Thanked a lot for how willing and easy going I am. That felt pretty good, and I was left in high spirits. They ended up not hiring me for the position because they want someone with more experience. Sorry, I need to deal with my Cheeto fingers. More experience than the person that is already in their building in the classroom with the students. I was heartbroken. I produced a total of 6 theatrical productions that year. My absolute favorite part at the end of the year was a celebration with the staff. I was awarded in front of everyone for stepping into my position and excelling and doing amazing things like, what the fuck, thanks for the tears, because they literally broke my heart. After 1 year, it made me quit teaching. No matter how many schools I interviewed for, they were all looking for seasoned teachers with experience. My question is, how is a first-year teacher supposed to get that experience? Well, no one will hire them due to the lack of. This is honestly really surprising to me. It's really fucked up that this is happening. That like, because so many districts are like hurting for teachers. So many districts are in a teacher shortage. So the fact that you're like doing a great job and you want to stay and they're like not letting you stay is like very surprising and really fucked up. And I just want to say that like you could totally go to a different district. I don't know what your like residence situation is or like the geography exactly. Sorry, my washing machine is making noise. But I'm sure a lot of districts would be happy to hire you. I didn't make this meme, I stole this meme. Let me catch up in the chat a little bit. A theater director, now I can bond with this person. Oh, yay. Got hired full time without any of my credentials. Yeah, sometimes it'd be like that. And good luck on the jobs, everyone. Love hearing about the jobs. Love that for us. Oh, shit. Okay. So I regularly got exposed to kids with COVID, but I'm never told by admin, just warned by the teachers after I ask where the kids are. So I have to go to we have to go in person to a church to attend virtual trainings. Why do you have to go in person to a church? That's crazy. And then this other person said, public school exclusively partners with churches. And then this is a meme that I made. It's actually 2 memes because I couldn't decide between the 2 of them, but now I hate that I did that, and I'm getting secondhand embarrassment for myself. So, my friend applied to 145 jobs, got 45 rejections flat out for only 4 interviews. I applied to 200 jobs, and I didn't track the rejections, but I only got 2 interviews. The first week made me cry when I saw looking for a job for the first time because I couldn't get hired anywhere without experience. Bro, I hate finding a job. I think I'm going to stay with the job I have now for like the rest of my life just because I hate finding a job. This meme has me thinking about your TikTok from earlier. Yeah, literally. It's been quite the topic today. Quite the topic. Quite the topic of conversation. Oh my God. My phone is not working and it's making me angry. Live, laugh, love. Having the time of my life. My God, someone made the rudest comment on my TikTok earlier. It kind of made me laugh, but then I was like, oh, are they right? Okay, let's continue. Oh my god, you filed your taxes today? Shout out to Average Tay for filing their taxes, because that could not be me. I paid someone to do my taxes because I physically cannot. Physically, I cannot do it. I refuse. So I paid a man $150 to do it. If I had to go to a church for a teacher training, I would deadass quit. Yeah, I think that's really valid. I waited until the last possible day, but I did that shit. I did mine like 4 days ago. Like, I really was not that much further ahead of you at all. Yeah, I procrastinated like a motherfucker. I'm getting that refund though. $600. You guys, I was supposed to owe like almost like $1,400. Like, I owed the government like $1,400, and I was like, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. Betsy Goose, you filed yours too. Congratulations. Also, congratulations on the first time chat. Thanks for being here. I waited until my last student returned, so I filed early. I had to give the government money. That's tough. That is tough. I'm going right back at a stack, and I'm getting back right at a stack, and I'm pretty stoked about it. That's awesome. I got a really big refund one year. I don't remember why, but it was awesome. We owed for the first time in a while, and it was $5,000. My coworker, that happened to them. Also, thank you for following Tyler JCO2. That happened to my coworker. They owed like $5,000, and they don't even really know why. They're married, and so it like has to do with that. But I was like, what do you do? Like, if the government was like, oh, you owe us $5,000, I would literally start laughing, because like, where are we gonna get that? Like, where are we getting that $5,000? From me? I don't have that. What do you mean I owe you $5,000? Like, I literally am not doing that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I owe you $5,000 for what? What did you do? Like, literally no. Like, literally no. The government is a joke. Like, the fact that we pay taxes is a literal joke. I'm so poor I can't afford to die. That's literally a mood. Filed independently for the first time. Now they're holding my money to confirm my identity. I hate the government. I literally hate it. Oh my god, thanks for the first time chat. Oh great, it's Caitlin. I got a huge refund, but that's because they didn't really pay me for teaching last year, and I had to pay for grad school. Yeah, I remember sometimes when I would get a big ass refund, I would be like, damn, I didn't make that much money this year. I'm always terrified to do my taxes because I'm afraid of owing. It's my parents. My dad worked for the government, and my mom works for a funeral home. Oh, the government miscalculated taking money out of my paycheck throughout the year. That's their problem. So mine is that I had a bunch of 1099s. Like, I did work and got paid and then had not paid taxes on that money. So I knew that it was going to be like a thing. But like, I was like, $1,400. I didn't make that much money. Like, that's like most of what I made extra. Thanks, Gladys89, for subscribing. But yeah, my last job taxed my tips, and I still owed money. It's a scam. Oh my god, I hate working. I literally just hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it so much. The IRS watching our chat. Yeah, because like, leave us alone. This is how I feel. I want more emotes. I really want more of the little emote things. I'm mad that mine aren't approved. Let me go look on Twitter and see if they approved them yet. I did like a support thing, and they're so funny too. Here, let me show them to you. Let me see if they replied, and then let me show them to you. Oh my god, my Twitter is absolutely insufferable. Okay, they haven't replied. That's good. Okay, so here's the one that we have. Baby Redacted crying. That's me in high school crying. Here's another one that's coming. If you know, you know. This is my favorite picture of myself. Not even joking. I think I look so pretty in this picture. Like, I think my face structure looks good. I think my lashes look good. I think my earrings look good. I think my glasses look good. Like, I love this photo of myself. Like, when I made it my profile picture on TikTok, like, I wasn't joking. It's from when I got certified to be a teacher. Like, I had to... That has to be a mugshot, please. No, I thought it was your big shot on Twitter, like a hot mugshot. That's why I like it, because that's what it looks like. No, it's like when I took my teaching certification test, they like took a picture of me and then like had my license to like confirm that it was me. So like, this is the picture for my certification, like in Florida's records. And I think I literally look like such a bad bitch in this pic. I literally look like such a bad bitch in this pic, and I fucking love it. And it hasn't been approved to be an emote on here, but I really like it. So then we also have this picture that from me teaching, where I look so done, and I'm playing with a poppet. Like, I'm literally at my desk playing with a poppet, and I look absolutely so done. And then this one, I don't know if it's gonna like Sorry, the light is weird. I don't know if it's gonna like come through correctly because I think it might be too tiny, so I might have to like come with something else. But it's a US flag and it says I hate it here. So that's what we have so far. And similar to this one, the I hate it here one, I have one that says star student because sometimes I tell you you're a star student. But that one, I think the text is too tiny, so we shall fucking see. Hopefully, so I read online, they take 24 to 48 hours. And then it said, depending on the content, it could take up to 2 weeks. So I'm wondering if because mine are pictures of my face, that like triggers something and it's going to take longer. You know what I mean? I don't really know. But thank you. I'm very proud of them. If you have other ideas, let me know. I have a couple other slots. Like you can do a certain amount and I have more spots. So let me know. I'm trying to get my Irish friend to marry me so I can get a visa there. Can I come? Could you guys adopt me? Let me get rid of the background of the photos. I'll do it for you. I kind of like the backgrounds though. I know how to do it on Canva, but that's like kind of shitty. I don't know. I might hit you up for that. I'll think about it. It could be a vibe. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Okay, so let's do more stories. I was told at 15 by my guidance counselor that I needed to only wear shirts that came up to my neck because my breasts were distracting the male teachers. I was also asked during that same meeting, do you know what a slut is? Mind you, this is coming from someone I'm supposed to be able to go to for help. Thanks for the trauma, teach. Anonymous student from Long Island. Long Island is a fever dream. Long Island is fully a fever dream. I don't know what's going on there except for the Long Island medium. I love her work. I think she might be a scam, but I'm obsessed with her nonetheless. The hair, the nails, she's an icon. Someone in the chat's probably going to be like, she actually killed 27 children. Pete Davidson Island. The Irish are the best people I've ever met. I went to Ireland once in college, and I fucking loved Ireland. I felt like Ireland, the people were so nice. Maybe it's just because, like, I look the way I look, like, you know, like I visually fit in there. But I felt like people in Ireland were so nice. I had the same impression in Australia. People were very, very friendly. I did not get that impression in England. People were not super chatty there, except for this one guy who kept making me say aluminum when I was in England. Isn't Pete Davidson Staten Island? Are they the same? I have no idea. Like, you could not be asking a more ignorant person truly about the geography of that area. There's a TikToker that up and moved to Scotland and is living her best life. I aspire to be here. I'm Scottish. One of my dreams is to take my dad to Scotland because, like, we're Scottish and, like, my family has, like, a castle there. Like, not, like, my family, but, like, my family lineage has a castle named after us. Like, I emailed them and I asked if I could stay for free, and they were like, who the fuck are you? Like, that's how far related I am. But I think it would be really cool to take my dad there to, like, see our family's heritage. But my mom is trying to take him, and I'm like, we'll just see who gets to it first. You know what I mean? Pete Davidson is Staten Island. The geography of Pete Davidson. I'm getting my lashes done on Thursday, and I'm so ready. I feel like they do not look good right now, and I'm irritated about it because I kept scratching them. I started watching The Ultimatum. It's kind of good. Now I want to know what the Long Island medium would say to Pete. They should do a podcast together. I had Prancer Dancer 11 first time chat. I'm in NYC, can be a reference for some geography. Thanks for being here, first time dad. I need a Pete Davidson Long Island meetup so bad. Castle Redacted. Yeah, literally. Thanks, Linsrar. I am Castle Redacted. I have to have, like, I think that I should host, like, a dual interview with Pete Davidson and with the Long Island medium about Long Island and their thoughts and all those things. I think I'm the woman for the job. I'm going to turn this light down a little bit. I feel like that's just kind of a lot. There we go. That's much better. Currently, if anyone can get in touch with Pete Davidson, or the Long Island medium, please have them contact me immediately. Immediately have them contact me. I hope someone clipped that. If you ever clip something from one of my Twitches, feel free to fucking send it to me, tag me in it. I try and look at them all, but I think some of them are so funny. And I like to save them to my page. So if you have a funny one, or I said something that you want me to clip or whatever, let me know. What would Pete and Kim even talk about? I just need to know what their conversations are like. Like, what do they talk about? Nothing would surprise me, and anything would surprise me when it comes to those two. Like, I look at them together and I'm like, on one hand, I get it. I so get it. But then on another, even bigger hand, I'm so lost. So, like, do they talk? Like, it's giving the he knows Barack, I love Barack. I have so many meetings to go to. Pete, haha, word, babe. Like, literally. And then, like, she has 3 kids, and I'm like, I'm trying to envision Pete Davidson interacting with a child and him being like, what's up, dog? You like Roblox? And like, what? Him and Ariana made sense. Kim is similar but more confusing. Yeah, I just feel like they're really different vibes. Like, I don't understand. He takes voice lessons. Maybe they talk about that. Like singing. Good for him. I love that for him. What a king, Pete Davidson and his voice lessons. Period. King. I'm so happy for you. Kim and Pete versus Courtney and Travis. Courtney and Travis makes more sense to me. Like, when I see them together, I can definitely get more on board than with Kim and Pete. I just look at them and I'm like, something's not right. Like, I'm not against it, and I can't tell you I'm for it either. You know? Okay, I like how I've literally been on here for like half an hour and talked about almost nothing. I watched the new show, and Court and Travis makes sense. I feel like he genuinely put Teletubbies on for North to watch and then not see a problem. That's the energy he's giving Gab Page. Like, he's literally like, so this is the energy that he has. I hope that no one minds me telling this story. But one time when I was 14, I went to go visit my sister. She lived in another state, and I flew up there, and her and her boyfriend like lived together in this house with a bunch of like college kids, or like recently college grads. And so my sister had to go to work. Like, I skipped school on Friday, but she still had to go to work. So I was just gonna like chill in her house all day. And then her boyfriend, who's like, now they're married, was like, like, he left much later, so he was like trying to make sure I was good before he left, because I was like 14, and he was like, what do you eat? And I was like, what do you mean, what do I eat? And he was like, you need to eat something. What do you eat? And I was like, I don't know, like, I just eat regular food. So he was like, I'm gonna take you to Trader Joe's and I'm gonna buy you something so you have food while I'm not here, because don't go anywhere. And I was like, okay. And so he took me to Trader Joe's, and I got these fried mac and cheese ball things, and then like a chicken tender like nugget thing. And he was like, you have to make these in the oven. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, can you use an oven? And I was like, I'm 14. I think I know how to use the oven, sir. And he was so paranoid about leaving me home alone. Like, he literally was like texting my sister and was like, are you sure about this? And I was 14. And I feel like that's the energy that Pete Davidson gives off, is just like really not understanding like the mile markers of children's ages. I feel like Pete would come into these women's lives at such a weird time. I think he heals them through clips. Man, thanks for the clip. His heart is in the right place. Pete is a fixer. I'm gonna keep this here. I'm gonna watch it later. Low-key Pete Davidson's an icon, though. Don't love seeing my face that big. I think Pete Davidson is a fixer. Good for him. Okay. So, former 5th grade teacher here, literally me with preschool children. Former 5th grade teacher here had a student with autism, and he was emotionally disturbed. His mom was a principal in a neighboring district, and we found out quick why she didn't want him in her own district. He was required to have an aide with him at all times because he would often leave class and run around the school if he didn't like what we were teaching that day. He was known for taking his clothes off, damaging school property, grabbing staff members' breasts and genitals when he was being detained. According to proper student detaining procedures, I had to teach with the door open at all times and make sure his seat was near the door in case he felt like running out that day. Major safety issue for the other kids with keeping the door open all day. If I made any changes to the daily routine or desk arrangement, I had to email his mom ahead of time so that they could warn him at home the night before so the changes wouldn't upset him out the day. Once he lifted his shirt up in my class and shook his belly around, the aide tried to remove him from the class, and they stumbled and broke my projector screen. They even gave him his own classroom for him to do whatever he wanted. Sometimes he would be playing computer games in there while the aide watched him. Other times he would destroy that room. There were several occasions his dad would be called to the school and he had to carry him out over his shoulder. I understand these kids need socializing in the gen ed classroom, but this was a major concern for me, and the other kids were often distracted by his behavior, and learning suffered as a result. There were also times when it was a safety concern for me as well as the other kids. He should have been in he should have been learning proper coping and I can't read. Coping/social skills in the special ed resource room, but mom requested he be in gen ed classes all day with his one-to-one aide. Texas seems like a mess. That one's from Texas. The one at the end is also from Texas and kind of like gives clarity about like the special ed system in Texas, because apparently like a lot of the teacher submissions I've gotten and shared, the teachers are being lied to about the policy. Like, this is someone that knows more about education policy, and apparently like a lot of administrators are lying about it, and they kind of gave clarity. So that one's like at the end of this. I feel like I can say this because I'm autistic, but autistic boys really get away with murder because of our disability and still get everything, while girls get literally no resources. I have noticed that as well. Sorry. They have specific classes for kids that need extra care. That's very unfair to that teacher. Yeah. I work in special education, and they randomly told me that I have to work in 2 buildings now. When I said I don't feel comfortable with that, they said, "You're just lucky we didn't do it any sooner." The way girls typically have to go through hell and back to get an autism diagnosis is insane. I was undiagnosed autistic child. All I got was gifted classes and severe imposter syndrome. So I was supposed to go to therapy on Thursday, but I canceled it to get my eyelashes done. But I rescheduled it. It's just, okay, the timing was just not logical. Okay, so anyway, it just doesn't sound good. You should have seen my fucking boyfriend's face when I told him. I was like, "Oh, I'm getting my eyelashes done on Thursday. I had to cancel therapy." And he was like, "But look, I do not look okay. This is not okay." Eyelash more important than crying in therapy. So sometimes I'm a cry in therapy person, but the stuff that I've been talking about in therapy hasn't been making me cry because I'm like ascending, and I feel very hopeful, and I just kind of like, it's a lot going on. I want to process it. Normally I'm a big cry in therapy. But anyway, what was I going to say? Why am I going to therapy? Oh, this is why I got here. So I need to talk to my therapist. Was going to do it on Thursday. Will now be doing it on Tuesday. Or no, Monday. A day. I don't fucking know. I need to talk to my therapist because I kind of want to get assessed for autism, because sometimes people will comment on my videos and be like, "Hey, I think you're autistic." And like, I get it a lot, and a lot of like people that really know what they're talking about. So I feel like I should probably look into that. Because like, I have great health insurance. Like, why not go to a doctor? You know what I mean? Like, if it's free, I'll do it. I don't care. It's free. I have health insurance. You gotta look like a bad bitch in case you cry in therapy. So I had to learn how to cry with fake eyelashes as to not mess them up. You gotta be careful about how you rub your eye. You wanna see how I rub my eyes with fake eyelashes? I wonder what this looks like. I bet it looks crazy. So you can rub like that all fucking day. You just can't rub on them. So I go like this. It feels so good. I love rubbing my eyes. That shit hits so different. That's probably why all my eyelashes fall out, because I rub my eyes all the time. And they always tell you not to do that. But I don't care, because I'm still going to live. You know what I mean? The amount of videos on my For You page that are like, if you do X, Y, and Z, you might be autistic. And I'm like, I do all of that. Literally every time. Every time. It's like, do you do blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, yeah, everyone does. And then they're like, you're definitely autistic. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. I wanted to get an ADHD test and diagnosis, but I'm wondering if I need to get tested for autism instead. Are those eye drops helping? Okay, so I'm going to get to the eye drops in a second. I got tested for ADHD, and they were like, yeah, we think you have that, but now I think it might not be that. I don't know. So the eye drops. I was supposed to get new contacts, and I literally... Oh, sorry. Someone sent a long message. I'm going to get to that in a second. So I'm trying to get new contacts, and I literally cannot fucking get them. I don't know what the problem is. So I went to the eye doctor. It was at Target Optical. Target Optical, if you're watching this, I'm upset with you. And they gave me the contact samples, and they're like, hey, do you want to order them? And I was like, hey, can you tell me how much it'll be with my insurance? And then I'll try the samples for a couple days, and then I'll order them. And they're like, yeah, for sure. So they put in my insurance. They put in everything. And then they tell me that my insurance is covering it, and I was like, okay, can I just call you at some point to order them? And they're like, yeah, you just give us a call, like, we already have all your information, we can just put it through. So maybe like a week goes by, I wore the contacts like 2 or 3 times, and I liked them, so I called to order them, and the girl was like, oh, you get them online, and was like super rude, and I was like, okay, sorry, whatever, maybe I misheard guy. Tried to order them online. It's not working. Like, my insurance isn't going through. It's saying, like, error, you cannot be found. And I'm like, this is fucking weird. So I call them again. And I'm like, hey, I tried to order contacts, whatever. Like, it's not letting me do it. And she, over the phone, is like, oh, do you have your prescription? And I was at work, so I was like, no, I don't have my prescription with me. And she was like, oh, I don't have your prescription. Wait, I zoned out. We're talking about contacts now. I'm having beef with Target Optical. I'm telling you about the beef that I have with Target Optical. So she was like, I don't have your prescription. I need you to have your prescription to order them. And I was like, but I got my prescription there. And she was like, oh, well, the doctor is like with a patient right now and I don't have access to that. So just call back later. And I was like, okay. And so I call back later and then like same shit happens. She's like, the doctor's not there. And so then I take a picture of my prescription. So I have it in my phone. I call today and she's like, I'm trying to order them. She asked me for the prescription again, and she like I was saying the numbers to her, and she kept like repeating back the wrong numbers. Like, the communication was just bad. And I was like, I honestly don't feel comfortable ordering this way, like off of a prescription that I'm just verbalizing to you, like that there can be human error. These are expensive, and like I want to make sure this is right. And I don't really understand like why you as the office don't have access to my prescription. And then she was like, oh, well, I just have to wait for the doctor to like get the stuff, but she'll be here at 11. So I'll call you at 11. And I was like, I'm going into a meeting at 11. Like, I can't talk to you at 11. Can I call you later? And she was like, yeah, that's fine. So then I call her while I'm driving home from work, and I'm like, hey, it's me, like, here to call you back. And she was like, oh, we need your insurance information. Mind you, I gave them my insurance when I booked the appointment online, filled it out on a form, then like gave them the physical card at the appointment. Then when I sat down with the contacts guy, he looked at that physical card. Like, that's when I gave it to him. And then I had also given it on one of the phone calls, and I was driving. So I was like, oh, I'm driving right now. Like, I don't have my insurance card, but I gave it to you all these other times. And then she was like, oh, do you still work for these people? And it was like a place I haven't worked in for fucking ever. And I was like, what? I was like, I'm so confused as to why this is happening. And then I was like, I don't have my card. I'm going to have to call you back when I do, I guess. And then she was like, oh, just give me like your social and your birthday and I can find your insurance that way. So I did, and it wasn't working. And like, I've had 6 phone calls about this and I still don't have contacts. And then today I gave her my insurance, like was driving, parked at my house, pulled up the card on my phone, called her back, gave her the entire group number, the entire member number, everything. She said, that was at like 5 something. She said she would call me before they close. I think they close at 8. After she was like, okay, I'm going to call the insurance, see why it's not going through, and then I'll call you back and let you know what's going on. And I just want contacts. I just want contacts. And honestly, I'm really sorry that you all just had to sit through that story, but I can't handle this anymore. Like, I've literally made so many phone calls about this. Would love insight if anyone has it. Let me catch up with the chat. You can have both ADHD and autism. They're pretty comorbid. Yeah, I've also heard that too. My grandfather was a psychiatrist. I asked him if he thought I had autism after I did my own research, and he was like, no shit. That's pretty funny. If you're looking into getting a professional autism diagnosis as an autistic person, I encourage you to look into autistic disability rights prior to committing a diagnosis. I've personally chosen not to get one professionally because of the state of our rights here in the U.S. Thank you, Made Me Mart. I've heard that, but I haven't really looked into it, and I'm wondering how that would like affect me. But to answer Avatar of Victory's original question, the eye drops, I don't know if they're working because I haven't gotten the new contacts yet, which is why I'm wearing my glasses right now. Normally I don't like to wear my glasses when I'm like using a ring light because it like reflects weird and whatever, but here we are. Actually, I can read pretty well without these. I think we're just not going to do that. Okay, so I put like pause to chat and put the QR code, but then I changed my mind and I put it just on the permanent screen, so whatever. Okay, this is kind of a crazy one. Eye doctors are so hit or miss for me. Like, I just don't understand what the problem is. Like, why have I had to call 6 times and give my insurance like literally 4 times to get contacts? Like, I'm really unclear and unsure as to why this is happening to me. Okay, I want to preface this by saying I no longer work in public education, but this is my go-to story when people ask what teaching is like. Last year I taught 7th grade and we worked in a hybrid teaching style, which meant we had some kids in person, others on Zoom, all at the same time. They would be counted as asynchronously present for the day if they logged onto our Canvas page at all. So I had students that could just go to my Canvas page without joining for class just to say they were present. There were many things wrong with our hybrid system, and that's a rabbit hole for another time. I had a student given to me mid-year that I never saw and never turned in any work. I had so many kids like this, it drove me crazy. On Canvas, there's a way to send mass emails to students that haven't submitted an assignment that was either due soon or past due. It would just be a generic email saying, hello, this is just a reminder that blah, blah is due today at 11:59 or something. Very generic, never rude. Sorry, I keep burping. Clearly an announcement sent to multiple students. I sent one of these messages out one afternoon. No big deal. I had such a bad habit of waking up first thing in the morning before even getting out of bed. I would open my school email just to see what I missed. This probably added so much unnecessary stress to my life. I don't have my work email on my phone anymore. When I was a teacher, I had my work email on my phone. But now at my new job, I don't, and it's so liberating. I absolutely love it. I cannot recommend it enough. Anyway, I looked at my email and I can see a response from my message from the student that I never hear from, that has never been to class, that never submitted a single assignment, that reads, bitch, I don't care. I was shocked. I was not expecting to be cussed out within 0.03 seconds of starting my day. I don't mean to laugh, but it's like a little funny. I sent the email to admin asking what to do because clearly an in-person student would be sent to the office for saying that, and I got a response from my principal saying that I need to call a parent, as if I didn't have a million other teacher-related tasks going on in my day and I need to call a parent to let them know that their kid cussed me out. Then what? Ask them to apologize to me? This seems like a whole reason the assistant principal exists. It's easy to manage. It's to manage unruly behavior. Overall, sorry, I can't breathe. Overall, it just seems that in like a situation admin should intervene in. This student had been a problem for other teachers in the past, so I knew I needed to be prepared if I was going to handle this situation on my own. I called the parent, let her know everything that happened, let her know that his IP address indicated that he had sent the message from the same area that he logs into his courses, and her response, that just doesn't sound like something he would do. So I said, okay, well, again, we tracked the IP address, and she said, okay, that's just not something my son would do. I'm sorry that happened to you, though, but he wouldn't do that. Side note, I had talked to the teacher that had him the year before, and she said that he actually cussed out teachers in person pre-COVID, so yes, it seems exactly like something he would do. Unfortunately, since he was virtual and already not attending class and his parent refused to act like he was accountable, nothing was ever done about his verbal harassment. I have never felt weaker and more vulnerable than I did after I got off that phone call. I realized my admin would not protect me. I was alone. I felt like the kids had so much power. Boy moms and their sons. Let me catch up in the chat. I'm happy that you all have good doctors right now. Can't relate, but I'm happy for you. Moms that never believe their sons are capable of doing wrong make me see red, like you are creating a monster. No, literally. Literally, you are creating a monster. Like, absolutely, that's fully what's happening. Why are moms so... Ugh. Sometimes. Yeah, we're fucking real. Ain't that the truth? Oh my god, I forgot about this account that I'm like literally obsessed with, but they never post anymore and they used to post all the time. Oh no, they just haven't been coming up on my For You page. They still post like once a day. Do you guys follow this guy who does these videos? It's the self-proclaimed boy moms always defending their son who ends up being a fucking menace. No, literally. That's always what it is. Wait, Skims has a boyfriend line? It's precious. Skims has a boyfriend line? What? Also, the teacher had literal proof that it was her son. Like, bitch, are you a delusional? Fully delusional. It's mental illness, I think. Skims does have a boyfriend line. Googling immediately. Guess who's spending money today? No, I've never bought Skims. They're expensive. I'm curious about this, though. Kim was just talking about it. OMG, why do I know so much about her? Kill me. So I also know a ton about Kim Kardashian, but I don't watch the show or really follow any of them on social media. So where am I learning this? Like, literally, where am I learning it? I used to watch the show, like, in the OG seasons. A lot of people say it's worth it. So this is my hesitation, is that I don't take care of my things. Like, can you wash and dry them regularly? Because if you cannot, I will destroy them. So like to me, I'm not going to buy an expensive purchase that I know I'm going to end up destroying, you know, because like I know I'm not going to dry it on delicate or wash it in cold with like color. Like I'm not going to do that. I'm going to shove them all in there. So like that's why I don't buy nice stuff that often, because I know I'm going to destroy it. So there's no point. I've never purposely followed any of the Kardashian Jenners, and yet I know so much against my will. That's how I feel. You got a hand wash, I'm out. Immediately I'm out. I was thinking about it and immediately I'm out. That's why I thrift everything. I'm trying to get better about fast fashion, but it's not going well. It's truly not. Also, thanks everybody for who has followed me on this stream. EVW166, KG2793, at Astra's Fanfare 19. Thank you. Sorry, Kim, we don't all have people to hand wash our delicates. Like, all my laundry's in a pile on my bed. I never sleep at my house anymore. I always sleep at my boyfriend's house. So my bed has just turned into like a laundry area. Like, it's just where all my laundry goes. Clean laundry, dirty laundry. Who's to say? Mix it together. Who cares? All right. Bitch, you should care. That was good timing with the title of this. Nice job, B. Oh my God. Sorry, the chat. Literally our socks, and I'm just dealing with it. I've never watched anything and they're in and never seek out content, but I know so much about that family. I just take my chances on washing them. Hand wash, dry clean only. You mean throw in the washer on cold and help? No, literally. The washer on cold and hope for the best is my strategy with all my laundry. Okay. That kid went without consequence. Imagine. Let me make my dryer shut the fuck up. Give me 1 second. Mike is gonna watch you. Mike is watching you. You're fine. My dryer will just like literally scream at you until you either stop it or take the stuff out, and it's very annoying. Like I know it's like anti-wrinkle, but like at what cost, you know? Like I don't care if it wrinkles, obviously. Look at me. Okay. Focus. We are focused. We're all paying attention. The kid went without consequence. Imagine what else could be said and done to me via Canvas where consequences I would be shirked. I knew at this point I was leaving next year, so I just tried to keep quiet and get out of there. I made sure I never sent that kid another message about his grades, and luckily no other kids I knew learned of the message. It was just a demoralizing situation that really made me more confident in my decision to leave at the end of that year. A tip I learned, if it says only, like dry clean only, you can only do that. But if it says dry clean, that's the best option. Oh, good to know. I don't think I've ever brought something to a dry cleaner in my life. I taught in an affluent neighborhood from September until I quit right before winter break. Basically, the department chair was the other 8th grade science teacher. Oh, this one's crazy. Was the other 8th grade science teacher, and she had this whole flipped classroom set up. From what I've gathered, a flipped classroom is basically where the kids like teach themselves material at home and then do like projects in class instead of being taught in class and doing projects and work at home, is what a flipped classroom is. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the only description I've seen, but I haven't looked into it that much. I wouldn't know where to find a dry cleaner if my life depended on it. I drive past one sometimes. I guess there, if it really came down to it. I had a flipped classroom for math in middle school. It was a nightmare. I think a flipped classroom can only work with advanced students in a subject area that they love and have a lot of background knowledge in. I think that's the only time it can work. You know what I mean? I just don't think it can work for most kids. Like most kids, I don't think that's really that effective. Most of my college classes are flipped. Yeah, like I feel like college is a different environment. I personally wouldn't like that because I hate working in public. But whenever I hear like middle schools doing it, I'm like, I just don't think that's gonna work. I started off doing that and started getting complaints from parents that go immediately to the principal or superintendent of school. Not many parents reached out to me directly. They told admin I wasn't actually teaching their children and that all of my students were failing my class because I was a terrible teacher. I ended up having to meet with the principal, superintendent, and principal, superintendent, and assistant superintendent and my department chair / union rep weekly about the complaints, and the superintendent and assistant superintendent were observing me in my classroom weekly. That is hell. That is literally hell. There were 2 phone calls that I got from an irate parent saying I shouldn't be using state questions as my test questions because that's teaching to the test. She would not hear anything different. She ended up complaining about me at a board meeting that was recorded and posted to the website for all to see. The board let her rant for 10 minutes about how I was a terrible teacher. It was a data team board meeting. I don't really know what that means. I also received a few vicious emails about how I was an awful teacher and I should be fired, and the kids hated me and weren't learning anything. Eventually, the principal decided to hold a parent Q&A run by my department chair about the flipped classroom. The principal, assistant principal, superintendent, assistant superintendent, department chair, another 8th grade teacher, and I were all there to answer questions through the department, though the department chair did the majority of the talking. This was also to be recorded and posted on the website for parents who couldn't make it. For context, the meeting took place during first period the week after Thanksgiving in the middle school library. It was immediately clear that this was going to be a disaster. Let me catch up with the chat a little bit. I could do it for social science classes, but I would cry if I had to do it for STEM. I agree, because I think social science classes are a lot more like opinion based and a lot more like evidence reasoning based and kind of like chatty based, as opposed to like trying to teach yourself like a concept in math or something like that. It's very hard. My teacher had a flipped classroom my sophomore year, and he gave us 2-hour lecture videos to watch every other class. Because she gave us time in class to do work, we quite literally had to write out the entire textbook page. It was so meticulous. Ugh, that's so annoying. And like, are you going to read that as a teacher? Like, who cares? Like, literally, who gives a shit? Like, sometimes teachers would be like, you don't make them do this. And I'll be like, I literally do not fucking care, and I'm not going to read that. Like, I'm not. Might be a hot take. I know a lot of people disagree with this, but I'm going to explain how I felt about the situation. Honestly, I'm not a teacher, but fuck parents and the way they treat teachers. My college physics class was flipped. Good thing I love physics. Yeah, I think, like I said, it can work with higher level students. But yeah. Ugh. Awful. Hate. Okay. Most of my grades were completion grades. So, this is what I was going to talk about with grading. So I graded every assignment that I gave, because a lot of the kids that went to my school had experienced all throughout their education teachers that only gave completion grades and would like throw things in the garbage can, and like as long as you tried a little bit they would just give you an A. And my logic was like, you are going to be in college soon. For a lot of you, a lot of my students were interested in going to college and had the like ability to go to college, like the grades, they were going to graduate high school, all that. So I was like, it's my responsibility as your 11th grade teacher to help you get ready for that. So I graded every single assignment. I didn't grade every Nearpod. I didn't grade every game we did or anything like that. But if you turned it in, it's getting a grade, and it's not going to be a completion grade. I'm going to read it and I'm going to grade it. I sometimes would like, my like way to grade on completion without grading on completion is like, I would just skim it, and if it looked good, you would get an A. If it was plagiarized, you'd get a 0. And then if there were like some things that I was like, that's definitely wrong, I would just give you a B. Is like, would be my lazy way of grading, would just be like A's, B's, or you plagiarized or you didn't turn it in. But so many of my students like had a love-hate relationship with that grading all policy, because some of them were like, oh, I like it because I feel like I'm actually getting rewarded for my work. Like I don't do work for nothing, and like I know it's like worth it, turn it in, and it makes me learn more. But then some of them hated it because they were like, even if I miss one day, my grade's gonna drop. But all of the assignments, like I never gave busy work ever. And if I ever did give busy work, it was extra credit, for kids that wanted it, just because I didn't have anything else. I started with completion grades, but then I really read some of their stuff and realized a bunch of them wouldn't last in college, so they didn't get together. Exactly. That's what I felt like. Just doing completion grades was not serving my students effectively, and so I didn't do it very many times. I did it some my first year, and then I stopped because of that reason. Okay, let's continue with this story. Your leaders... Oh, wait, sorry. I put that in the wrong order. The parents were screaming, cursing, and accusing me of not teaching their children anything. I was told beforehand to say nothing and let the other tenured teachers handle it. I was also told beforehand that if the meeting should go first period, I was to leave when the bell rang to go teach my second period class. Other teachers would be leaving at the same time. When we stood up to leave at the bell, parents were screaming things like, "Where does she think she's going?" The superintendent and principal were absolutely no help. I spent the rest of the day sick with worry over the rest of the meeting. I was supposed to take the next day off as a mental health day, but my department chair found me at the end of the day. She was almost in tears and kept repeating, "That did not go well." She told me I had to come in the next day and meet with everyone to determine next steps. This is the meme. Your leader's letting you get ripped apart in the school board meeting and in the parent panel meeting. I hate how they didn't defend this person. Like, literally, what the fuck? Like, why are you there if you're not going to defend your teachers? Like, what are you doing there? Why are you wasting everyone's time? Like, fully, why are you wasting your time? If you as a parent scream and curse at the teachers, maybe you need a timeout. You absolutely need a timeout if that's what you're doing. Like, you fully need a timeout if you think that that's, like, fine and dandy of a thing to do. Your department head, it didn't go well. Literally everyone. Speaking of the Kardashians, it's the Kardashians world. We're just living in it. I know Scott Disick is problematic, but he's pretty funny. He's very problematic, but also kind of funny. I'd be a mean admin. I'd go to war with people that go after my coworkers and staff. That's one thing that I did like about my admin. I never was in a situation where a parent was coming for me. Like, I always had either, like, no relationship with the parent, like, we just didn't talk, or it was, like, neutral, just, like, a communication relationship, like, where we didn't chat. It was just, like, information. Or it was, like, a good relationship, and we, like, actually talked a lot and really collaborated well. Like, that's the only thing I've experienced. But there were some teachers at my school that would have issues with parents, and my admin would always take the teacher's side. That's one thing that I liked about them. Like, everything else, they were pretty rough. But they did always take the teacher's side, usually. Like, the few times that they didn't, the teacher really was wrong. But for the most part, they would take the teacher's side. They would defend, I love my admin, they would defend me tooth and nail if a parent was coming at me. Yeah, Scott Disick does say what's true. He absolutely does. My administrator took our side over our department chair in an email today, and I was so heart eyes emoji. Bro, that's such a good fucking feeling. I love that. I absolutely love everything about that right there. I should have deleted those out. Sorry. I went home and wrote my letter of resignation. Had a full-blown panic attack. My boyfriend at the time, now husband, later told me he almost took me to the hospital because he was so worried about me. He spent the next month leaving work early just so that I would not be alone. When I went in the next day, my department head just kept saying how poorly it went and how they didn't know how they were going to be able to post the video of the meeting because it got so out of control. BTW, there were students in the library while the meeting was going on. Bro, imagine acting like that as an adult in front of kids. I told her I was quitting and she tried to convince me to stay, but I was so done. I cried while talking to my principal about resigning. He also tried to convince me to stay. I feel so guilty about leaving my students, but at the end, quitting the job was the best decision I ever made. That's from Westchester, New York. Teaching sounds eerily similar to customer service. I have done both. My teaching experience was not super similar to customer service, I think because like I didn't deal with parents this way. Like most of the parents that I dealt with, it was over text message. They weren't like at the school. They wouldn't really call me. Like it was pretty much all email and text. So like I never dealt with this. But from what I've seen, especially from elementary school teachers, it is like working in customer service. Like apparently elementary school teachers, parents are just like go in on them during drop off and shit like that, which is crazy to me. Like what's wrong with you? I mean, two people said the customer service thing. Oh my God, Gab Page and Emily B. That's crazy. Very political. You need a good manager to back you up. Yeah, exactly. Elementary parents are vicious, which like I can kind of get because if I had a kid, I would be vicious about them too. But like, bruh, that's a person at the end of the day. Elementary teachers have it rough. They get paid the least. In my district, they get paid the same. I don't know. I know different districts do stuff kind of differently, but in my district, they get paid the same. Also, let me try and make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Perfect. Some of these parents choose the wildest hills to die on. Yeah, it's like out of everything you went with that. Like out of everything that happened, you went with that. Feel free to submit parent horror stories as well. I'm always open to hearing parent horror stories. Like no testing, no bonuses for, I see. No testing, bonuses for AP, no planning, drop supplement, no club supplement. I see what you're saying. Yeah, they make less because they don't have access to all the supplements that secondary does. That is true. Yeah, I was thinking base salary, but you're right. Early childhood pays way less than K-12 though. Like when I was a sub for early childhood, I was a long-term sub, so I was with the same class for like 5 months at a time. Teachers get bonuses for teaching AP. Depends on the district. In my district, you did not. But when I taught early childhood, minimum wage was like $7.50 something where I lived, and I made $8.15 an hour as a sub. And as a sub, I was with the same kids every day, and it was 2 teachers and 8 toddlers. And that's a way better ratio. Like most places, it's not that way. Like the place I worked had phenomenal ratios compared to most places. Because my kids were 12 months to like 23 months, so like just shy of 2. And it was 4 toddlers per adult, so like 8 kids, 2 teachers in a room, most of the time. Sometimes we would have to combine classes and it would be like a little different, but it was usually like the ratio was pretty okay. I teach self-contained 5th grade. I teach self-contained 5th grade math, science, social studies, ELA, 3 of which are tested. I only get 40-minute planned bells per week. That's fucking insane. Get 40 minutes. I could not do that. As a high school teacher with 1 prep, I got an hour and 20 minutes a day to plan, and I could still barely do it. Like I still occasionally would have to take work home. Sometimes more, but those are averages. I had a mom keep her kid out of school for 6 months, then absolutely freak out on me when he hasn't been in school in 3 days, and I hadn't emailed her with a plan to get him back on track. So I told her I was doing some assessments, sight words, running record, etc., to get present levels for me, and then she freaked out that I could not be assessing without prior notice to her. That's ridiculous. I could not win with that woman. Jesus Christ. It's like, don't assess my child. Don't assess my child. It's like, you're the teacher. What are we doing here? I get 90 minutes 2 or 3 times a week. That's really interesting. I don't get any testing bonuses. Bonuses aren't a thing. I got a supplement for being a club leader. Like I did the Social Studies Honor Society. I don't even get a lunch, to be honest. I eat and cry at my desk daily. Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks. College Board doesn't send teachers money for passing AP test. I have no idea. I would tell the parent to homeschool at that point. No, I literally would. No, we're not doing this. We're fully not doing it. We're not doing that. It's not an option at this moment in time. There was an English teacher when I was in high school who was absolutely horrendous. Here's a couple examples. When the class was reading Lord of the Flies, she insisted it was pronounced conch and not conch. I don't know how to actually pronounce it, Shell, and would take points off your grade if you said it wrong. She was so obnoxious about it. She once had a complete meltdown because a student allegedly stole a Hershey bar off her desk and she demanded to know who it was. I'm obviously joking, but that's fucking hilarious, and that's absolutely something I would do. Like, I would start screaming over a Hershey bar just to realize, like, I'm actually the one that ate it. Did you ever just, like, laugh at their silliness? Like, are you being serious right now? I cannot imagine tolerating that. She didn't even have custody of him, but she enrolled him. She put the dad was deceased. Oh my God, this plot is getting so thick about this parent. She didn't have custody of them, and when she enrolled him, she put the dad as deceased, but I'm assuming the dad had custody of him? Question mark? Rach Arliss, please answer. I need to know this. Okay, so she ultimately got fired for making fun of a student with Tourette's. It was near the end of the school year, so finals were a shit show. I feel I should mention this was a private school, so it was being handled particularly quickly. Once a parent, as far as I know, only one parent brought the Tourette's incident to the principal. This is from Fluffy Bubbles 468 on Twitch and TikTok. They are a student. Bonuses for teaching AP makes my AP English teacher's behavior make so much more sense. That man was an asshole. Yeah, I've never heard of bonuses for teaching AP, but at the school that I taught at, like, our pass rates were really low, and we didn't have that many AP classes because we were a small school, so just, like, dual enrollment made a lot more sense, and we could offer more stuff that way, so we didn't do much AP. Yep, we had the police come twice to pick him up. Poor dad barely spoke English and was undocumented, so he was afraid to advocate. That sucks. Oh, God. That got so much more depressing so fast. Wow. I can't believe she put him as deceased, and then he wasn't in school for 6 months. This is very questionable. I feel really bad for this kid. Also, don't feel sad, got a new job and went into shadow for the day. Cannot wait to leave teaching behind. Oh, good. I'm glad you are happy about your new job. Okay, so fuck that mom, because what the hell? I looked up Florida statute. It says $50 for every student that passes an AP test, up to $20K. That doesn't sit right with me. I normally am very in favor of teachers getting paid extra money, but that just like doesn't, it's not sitting right with my spirit. $2K, not $20K. Yeah, $2,000, not $20,000. But that's just not sitting right. I don't know why. I just don't like teachers making money off like per kid. That's like really making me think about things. Because when I took a lot of AP classes in high school, like I was fucking in that bitch, and I passed all those motherfucking exams. I'm a really good test taker now because I had a good tutor. But anyway, all my AP teachers would do this thing where we would conference, and basically like they would sit down with you and look at how you had done on the practice test. Like they would make us take AP practice test. So like they would look at how you did and then tell you what they thought you were going to get on the AP exam based on how you had done on the practice test, and like what things that you needed to study for you to get a higher score. And that's making me look at that conversation really differently, because I always looked at that in a positive light, because I was like, oh, they're pushing me to do better, they're pushing me to try harder, they're pushing me to learn. And like I had a lot of great teachers who I'm sure that was their motivation, but now I'm like, damn, were you just sitting with those kids and they're like $50, $50, $50? Like no wonder. I had this one guy, he was my AP World coach, who was like, I know you can get a 3, because I had gotten like on the practice test, I was always bouncing between 2 and 3. You have to get a 3 to pass, and sometimes I was scoring 2s and sometimes I was scoring 3s. And he was like, you got to study. I know you can do it. And then like gave me some essay things to go over and write a couple more practice, like DBQs and stuff. And now I'm looking back and I'm like, damn, you have me working so hard for your $50. But I passed. That's what I mean. Like I did pass and I got the college credit. So I saved tuition money. So like I did benefit as well. But like, was he just looking at me as a $50 check? That's depressing. Okay, so content warning for the next one, because they all get unreasonably stressed over their pay literally depends on it. Yeah, that's sad. And like I feel bad for them because like they need money, so I get it. Me getting a 2 on AP World after my teacher said the same thing to me. I'm so sorry. That's a little funny. I just took AP to curb my grade. I never took the test. I graduated really high in class because of it. Okay, but AP World is hard. AP World is hard. Like to learn the fucking history of the world in 1 year. Like it's always disorganized in every school. AP US History was my shit. I could sit down and take the AP US History exam right now and get a 5 for the second time. Try me. That's the only test I ever got a 5 on, my APs. I got 4s. 4s was my go-to. I'm really an A- student. Like really at my core, I am an A- student. Like I'm up there. I'm a good student. But am I the perfect student? No. There's always going to be a couple things. My school district was too poor to offer AP. J. Marie, that's your first. I'm sorry. Oh my God. The me crying. So this picture of me crying in the chat, the little emote of me crying, that is in my 10th grade English class. Fun fact about that class is that, let me get this content warning like off of here. I don't love like that being on here. Let me put it back to this. So fun fact about my 10th grade English class, we had to read Dante's Inferno. I don't know why. Like the things they make kids read, I don't understand. We had to read Dante's Inferno, and my teacher gave us a test that was so fucking hard. It was so fucking hard. It was the hardest test I've ever taken in my life. Speaking as someone with a fucking college degree, this 10th grade English test was the hardest test I've ever taken in my life about Dante's Inferno. A lot of it was matching. Like it was a question and then matching to the answer choice, you know, where you like draw the lines, except it could be 0 choices, 1 choice, or multiples, and it gave you no context about that. My school runs the world course like a well-oiled machine because it's an honors history class available to all sophomores. The A-Push class is kind of a mess because not all juniors can take it. Can you do an A-Push review stream before the test? Yeah, I can try. I can do that. But anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, it was right there. Oh, okay, this Dante's Inferno test. So it was so fucking hard. Some of them were multiple choice where there were 10 answer choices. And again, it was like one or multiples or whatever. Like, it was just impossible. And so we all started cheating on it because she gave us 2 days to take it. So one person, and I still remember you for this. I'm not going to say your name because I don't know if you want that on the internet, but you are fucking ride or die for this shit. You saved us. You saved us. You saved us. And I applaud you for that. You are braver than any fucking Marine. This girl took pictures of the test and then sent it in every single group chat she could find. Literally sent it to fucking everyone. And it was like, here are the pictures of the test. We can Google the answers. We can figure this out. And then on the day 2 of the test, we can just write down everything we Googled after like either memorizing it or write it on your leg or like bring in a little piece of paper or something. And like, she's the fuck goat for that. Like, she is the fucking goat for that, because I would have failed that test. I would have absolutely failed that test. And I remember my mom picked me up from school and I told her about it. She was like, how'd your test go? And I was like, I'm fucking dying in there. I was like, I'm fighting for my life. And then I was like, but this girl sent me all the questions. Like, she sent us all the questions. So like, I think I'm going to be okay. And my mom was like, well, that's cheating. And I was like, I guess, but like, I'm going to fail. And so my mom was like, I think it's okay. My mom decided that she was okay with it as long as I didn't bring anything into the test with me. She was like, if you just look up the answers and learn them, I'm okay with it because you're still learning. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. So I told her I did that, but I did write them down because it was like 50 of them. I wasn't going to be able to memorize that. And I wasn't even that sure about the answers because I remember I looked up the test. Mind you, this was a 10th grade English class. I looked up the test questions and found the test, did not find the answer key, found the test, and it said it was a college level English literature exam or some literature. I don't know what the fuck part of the world that's from. And I was like, this bitch is giving us, I don't mean to call teachers bitches, but it was not chill of her to do this. I was like, this woman is giving us a college exam and I'm literally in 10th grade. This is not okay. I feel no guilt for cheating. So I like stayed up all night trying to figure out the answers, and then I wrote them all down on a little piece of paper of what I thought the answers were, and then I, like, during the test, put the little piece of paper in my lap and filled it in. And I only got an 82. I got an 82. I still remember I got an 82 even with cheating because, like, I was just trying to figure out the answers, and it's literature, it's subjective. So, like, all I had was the questions. I got an 82. And then I remember that this girl, she was like a voracious reader, loved literature after all that jail. This story literally is just beginning. Nothing works like a well-oiled machine like high schoolers working together to get the answers for an impossible test. So this girl, she was super into literature and reading. She was the type of person that would read like the Game of Thrones books in one night, whatever. She found out about us doing that and then told the teacher about it. And then our teacher in class was like, someone has brought this to my attention. She was like crying and sobbing and blah, blah, blah. And the girl that brought it up, I still remember who you are. And I know we kind of became friends later, but I never forgot this. Just so you know, this was shady that you did this. She was like, well, I just think it's really insulting to all the people that actually read it and actually tried and blah, 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 that you would just cheat and blah, blah, blah. And I literally raised my hand and checked her. And I was like, I did cheat on that test. I was like, I apologize. But like, I read it 3 times. I still didn't understand it. I came to the help sessions. I still didn't understand it. And that test was a college level test. And I don't think it was appropriate to give it to us because out of my class of 30 kids, 28 of us had cheated on it. And so she was debating whether or not to send us like to the administrators, and she was like, all of you are going to fail the class if I send you to the administrators. And I said in class, I was like, the fact that 28 out of 30 of us felt that we needed to cheat to be successful says a lot. And then she ended up just counting it and calling it an open book test because I fucking checked that girl. Because why did you tattle on us? And that girl was so mad when I came out on top. I say it like it wasn't 28 out of the 30 kids in the class. Like, I wasn't even leading the charge. The girl that took the pics admitted it too. She was like, yeah, I took the pictures and I sent it to everyone. And she was real for that. The girl that snitched and the girl that led the rebellion are on opposite ends of the high school spectrum. That shit was crazy because like that was so unnecessary. Also, I have another cheating in high school story Garboys and gargoyles, that's wild. I know, right? It's fucking crazy. Thanks, Average Joe XXX, for following me, and Hey Jude 1316. So I have another high school cheating story. This was the same year. 10th grade was rough for me, you guys. It was 10th grade. I was fucking getting my ass kicked in 10th grade literature, having to cheat in there. I was in AP World getting my ass kicked, getting like 50s on every single test. This is also when I started taking Vyvanse, and I was taking way too much of it and like never sleeping and never eating, but that's fine. It's not fine if you're doing that. Please take care of yourself. But anyway, I was just getting my ass kicked from every direction. And I was in Honors Latin 2. And I was like, I cannot do this. I was like, I physically cannot fucking do this. I got a B my first semester of Honors Latin 2. This is like why I wanted to become a high school teacher, was because of the fucking pain and sorrow that I felt this year. So I had a B in Latin. And I was like, and I really wanted to go to the University of Southern California. That was my dream school. And I was like, a B in fucking Latin is not cutting it. Like, B in fucking Latin? In Latin. I'm not sure when you went live. I went live like a while ago, but I'm going to be on here a while longer, so stay, enjoy the party. So I was like, I cannot get a fucking B in Latin. I was like, I'm already fucking failing AP World. I have like a C or a D in Lit. Like, these grades are not getting me into USC. These grades are not getting me out of Georgia. I want to move to LA. I want to live my best life, whatever. And so then I found this guy that I was dating. He was a year older than me. He was in 11th grade, and him and his friends had taken the same class that I did the year before, and one of them had their binder with the scantrons to all the tests in it, and all of our tests are multiple choice. So I got my little high school boyfriend. I was like, you need to get me your friend's fucking binder. He paid him for it because I was elite, so obviously you're going to pay to get your girlfriend the fucking answers to the test. So he paid his friend for this binder, and because I was like, I just can't handle Latin. I knew I wasn't taking Latin 3. I was like, I'm fucking suffering. I cannot do this. I just have to cheat in this class. Like, this is just what needs to be done. So I got this binder from my high school boyfriend's friend, and I took pictures of the scantrons, and then during the test, I would literally not even read the questions, just fill in the bubbles, and I would get some of them wrong on purpose, because I was like, if I go from getting like low 80s on these Latin tests to getting like hundreds, he's going to be sus. And this guy, he was an old man, he was so nice, he was so sweet, he was to the date, one of the nicest, most genuine teachers I've ever met. I still feel so bad about this. Bobby, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I cheated on all the tests, and then in the spring, I was getting A's, and he helped me after class one day, and I was like, Buck, he probably knows I'm cheating. And he was like, I just want to tell you I'm so proud of you. He was like, I could tell at the beginning of the year you were really having a rough time, i.e. Vyvanse, no sleeping. And he was like, and you just seem like you're doing so much better now, and your grades have improved so much, and I'm just really proud of you. And I felt so guilty. I still do. Like, it still rips me up that I cheated in that class. And like, I just wish I could tell him, like, you were a good teacher. I just couldn't handle another class. Like, I was just overloaded, and I needed to get an A in your class, and I did what I needed to do. And I'm so sorry. He was so nice though. Like, when we had prom, I did what I needed to do. And then I didn't even get into USC. I went to Florida State and hated it. I hated Tallahassee. But anyway, when we had prom, when we had prom, he gave us all his cell phone number, and he was like, I stay up all night playing poker with my friends on prom night for this reason. If you are in a situation and you don't want to call your mom, you don't want to call your dad, if you're embarrassed, he was like, I will drive you home. No questions asked. He was like, don't tell any of the administrators because I will go to jail. But he was like, I won't bring it up to you later. I will not call your parents. He was like, you can call my cell phone. I don't care where you are. I will come pick you up, and I will take you to your house and drop you off. And I just thought that was so nice of him that he did that. And apparently I heard stories of people that had taken him up on it, and he did come through. He did come through, apparently. In my teaching program, we cheated as a class on one of our last tests. The prof did exactly what he told us not to do. Recycle old test questions for the final. Do as I say, not as I do. It's always the way. Our old high school English teachers used to assign the same essays, but at different times in the quarter, so me and my friend would write one and then trade. They never found out. I don't know why for the longest time I thought you were an elementary school teacher. Bro, I could never. That's what I loved about being a high school teacher is I felt like I was giving a Disney show because I would teach the same lesson 6 times. So I'd be like, pack it up. Let's do it again for the next period. Like I felt like I was a performer where I was like, we can tweak that for next time. That could be better. Like my jokes could be punchier. That's one thing that I need to like do better on Twitch is I feel like the second time I go through the lesson, it's always like that's the best one is the second one, and the first one's always the worst. And on Twitch, the first one is the only one. Like I'm only doing it once. So I don't know. I think I might start just like teaching it to like a friend or myself or to no one, just to like go through it once and really like do it how I want to do it, you know? But next week, not next week, on Wednesday, I'm really excited. I haven't made the Nearpod yet because I've been procrastinating, but it's going to be about the war on drugs. It's going to be really fucking good. I'm definitely going to celebrate the holiday before I do the stream, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. In 10th grade, during timed essays, I definitely wrote entire essays before and put sticky notes in my book. I use the same paper on human trafficking and victims' rights for English sociology and creative writing. This is what I would always tell kids, is I would say, you can consider it picked up. Y'all get me. This is my opinion as a teacher. You could plagiarize yourself. I'm not mad at you plagiarizing yourself because you wrote it. You literally wrote it. So you can plagiarize yourself. I don't fucking care. Like, you can't plagiarize other people, but like you wrote it. And I always would tell them, I'd be like, when you get to college, make sure you ask. I'd be like, most professors in college do not agree with this sentiment, and they have like systems that will check it and yell at you. But I would say for my class and for me, I'm okay with it if it fits, because it was rare that it happened. Just because I taught high school U.S. history, like that's the first time they've taken it, and I didn't make them write essays like ever. But yeah, I would always tell them like you need to ask before you do it every time. Always ask. But I told them my logic about it. Okay, so content warning on this one. Let's get back into it. So in 8th grade, one of our band directors took me and the other boy in my section to a different room to practice. When he corrected me, he stood directly behind me, really, really close, and put his arms around me and his hands on my hands. It was so insanely uncomfortable. He now works at the high school in our district, and I have him again as a teacher, and it makes me and a lot of other students feel uncomfortable. He's also a little too friendly with the mostly girl flute section. He also has had scandals like accidentally sending suggestive text meant for his wife and to other band director and the other band director's son on separate occasions. I'm honestly surprised he still works at our school considering how many people dislike him. Some community members have even refused to keep working with the band program because that means they would have to work with him. That's fucking depressing. Okay, this is a 2-parter. Also, I love the long ones. Feel free to always submit the long ones. First ever teaching contract was in a subject not my specialty, special education, in person during fall of 2020. And I'm immune compromised. We were specifically told by our super we were not allowed to even ask students to put masks on, even in the cross cohort spaces like my classroom. I replied to a tweet, did not write my own original tweet made by our province's union about masking, and asked them to keep fighting for us, and included a screenshot of our super's email with the school and district and any identifiers blurred out as context. Our super creeped the replies of the union's Twitter, found my reply, my account that had my hometown and not the actual place as my location, cross-referenced staff lists with the district, found me and my school, and told my admin to deal with it. This is so giving the energy of the district that I used to work for, which resulted in me being asked to attend a meeting with no warning or context as a first-year female teacher with 2 male admin and our school's union rep. They told me to delete the tweet, and I could not criticize the employer even though there were no identifiers in the tweet. They had my Twitter up where I publicly stated that I have multiple medical conditions, and they did not comment on any of it, just told me to delete the tweet. I was proud of this meme. Superintendents when teachers use social media to advocate for their own safety. The only class I ever cheated in was middle school geography. My brain just couldn't figure out how to keep all the different countries straight. Years later, I realized it was due to my aphantasia. I don't know what that is. If anyone wants to explain that, I'd be happy to learn. But yeah, here's a meme. I have such a crush on this man, if that's who I think it is. Is that Dwayne The Rock Johnson? I don't know. If it's Dwayne The Rock Johnson, I have a huge crush on Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I think he's so fine. I always have too. God. The Rock. I thought it was him, and then when he this part where his mouth turns down, I started to doubt myself. Evie just was texting me about like our fucking conversation on here. Sorry, that made me laugh. Sorry, I got distracted. Can't support you on this one. You can't support me on having a crush on Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Why? That's daddy right there. Quarter life crisis says, hey, Evie. They texted me because their chat is messed up. Because everything is terrible, apparently. I can't picture stuff in my head. Oh, I've heard of that. Junior year, my math teacher was a total asshole, and my friend subtweeted her and some other up teachers some other up the teacher's ass student tried to get her in trouble. My friend just checked the teacher about it. The teacher just let it go. I would always get in trouble for my Twitter at school in high school. I would literally be in the office like, hi. And I used to harass kids about their religion on Twitter. I grew up in a predominantly Christian area, and I really grappled with religion because I was really into social media and social justice and the news. So I was learning all these terrible things about the world, and I was really angry that other people were so comforted by religion and that I didn't have that. And other people were like, oh, it's all in God's plan. And I was mad that I didn't have that and I didn't believe that. So when people would post Bible verses on Facebook, people would post Bible verses on Facebook. I would reply conflicting Bible verses and be like, the Bible's a fucking joke. And kids were not allowed to talk to me over it because I grew up in such a Christian area, and parents would see on Facebook and be like, what the fuck? And they would call my mom and shit. It was really a problem. So many kids in my school would get in trouble for posting our fights online. People made so many ridiculous community hate accounts when I was in high school. Yeah, those were crazy. Or the hottest girls pages. If I had the guts, I would have been a menace and a bitch about other people's religions. We have a great one on World Star still. Oh man, I got in trouble for my Twitter all the time. Every time I would just be like, what happened to your anti-bullying policy that says you can punish students for things that don't happen on campus? Christian. LOL fam, I'm a religion teacher and I still do that. Then you're a good religion teacher. Then you are a good religion teacher. Okay, union rep after the meeting checked in with me to make sure that I was okay, gave me an air hug, and told me that he was there for me if I needed support in the fallout. He ended up helping me leave that contract mid-year. My department head at the same school used to spy on me through her office and window. She would often tell me to rewrite IEPs and then tell me the rewrite was wrong and then redo them herself exactly as I had done them originally. When I called her out for it, she stormed out of the room and slammed the door behind her. She also made racist comments about South Americans in front of me, fully knowing I'm half Brazilian. I almost didn't return to teaching after leaving that contract. We have a new super now and she is fantastic. I'm at a new school, teaching my specialty now, music, and Howden are extremely supportive. Same district, totally different vibe. This is in Canada. Air hug. I know, I think it's because of COVID, which sucks. The best you can get is an air hug. When I was a junior in high school, I had one instance with the English teacher that made me cry because this man was so awful and up his own ass. There were a lot of little instances that just annoyed me, but this one is the one that keeps him on my shit list for life. I missed 2 days for a sports event. I informed him at the beginning of the month and the beginning of the week that I would miss specific Thursday and Friday and asked what assignments I would miss. He said there were none. When I got back the following Monday if there were any assignments given out while I was gone, he said I was not missing anything. I even asked my friend in that Sorry, I keep getting distracted. I even asked my friend in that class. She also said no, nothing was given out. I left it at that. He put grades in, and I have super low grade because there was actually an assignment that he never told me about. I went to him during lunch and asked what happened if I could do it for partial credit. I didn't even ask for full credit, and he said no because it was my responsibility to make sure I had my work made up. He refused to believe me when I told him that I asked him if there was any work. I left his classroom and went and bawled my eyes out in my guidance counselor's office, where she told me I was the second student she spoke to that day alone about this teacher and that I needed to go speak to the vice principal. My ring got stuck in my bra. Okay. I was already super upset and not in the place to speak to an authority. Oh my God, this is yours? Hi. Hi, Gab Page. And not in the place to speak to an authority figure, so I just asked her to do it. The VP was the good one who would have listened without judgment. I've just always had issues speaking with authority figures regardless of their demeanor. She said I had to do it. I hate that she made you do it. That's one thing that I always like. A lot of other teachers would say I was weird for this, but I would always go with the kids if they needed to talk to somebody about something. I was like, oh, do you want me to go with you? And if they said, no, I don't want you to go with me, obviously I wouldn't go. But they'd be like, other teachers would be like, oh, they're in high school, they can handle it by themselves. And I'd be like, yeah, but what if they don't want to? Sometimes I don't want to handle anything by myself, and I'm 24. So I'm just going to go with them. 2 brains is better than 1, you know? Oh no, she didn't even offer me that. Because I would just go, and then when the kid like leaves something out, I'd be like, hey, didn't you say that this happened too? And they'd be like, oh yeah, that happened. And I'd be like, yeah, sometimes you be leaving stuff out. Okay. I never did, and that man never got disciplined as far as I know. I'm convinced the man is a misogynist and just didn't like female students that were smart and opinionated, and argued certain points with him in the materials that we read. I think that's why he scored my friend and I, who were in that class, lower than his favorite male student. This was an AP class, so he was basically allowed to do whatever he wanted. He was all about getting kids into AP classes and ran our Rotary Club and was just overall admin darlings. They were never going to do anything about his behavior in the classroom. Before this, English was my favorite subject, and I hated it for the rest of high school because of him. Sad vibes. What's Rotary Club? I don't really know. My grandpa was in it. If someone wants to jump in the chat, Marianne wants to know what Rotary Club is. Couldn't tell you. Apologies about that. At the time I was a para in special ed, I almost got my jaw broken by a kid who headbutted me. He was almost as big as I was in the 3rd grade and definitely stronger. I was only allowed 5 minutes to gather myself and then had to go back. Not to mention all the signs of neglect for the same kid that were ignored. I quit at the end of the year. I teach preschool now. It's like a service club. I'm a school psych, and when my kids get disciplined, I always offer to be in the room because our AP is very authoritarian and the kids always try and fight him. Sounds about right. A glow-in-the-dark parade. So many administrators, like, they just come at people all wrong. Like, they're just coming at the kids wrong. Obviously, I didn't join because he ran it. Yeah. Also, Rotary Club seems like very male-dominated to me. I don't know why. You're admin after you got literally assaulted. Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. I'm becoming a Swiftie. Did I tell you guys? I'm literally becoming a Swiftie. You don't even know. I've become a Swiftie thanks to Type B teacher. She's turning me into a Swiftie, which is awesome. I love that for us. Oh my god, quarter life crisis. We said that at the same time. I'm going to delete this video because I think it's awkward and I don't like it. The internet's been sussing me out lately. I don't know why it's been freaking me out. My 5th grade teacher didn't excuse a missing assignment from when my grandpa died because I had 3 days off. I could have gotten it done. Bro, what the fuck? Like, have you listened to Evermore? I think so. I don't know. Type B teacher made me a playlist, and that's all I've been listening to, and that's what I like. What are my favorite songs? So my favorite songs on the playlist that Type B teacher made for me. We're talking about Taylor Swift right now. Welcome, everybody. Okay. I think Don't Blame Me is a good song. Big fan of that. New Romantics. Love New Romantics. She really snapped with that one. Wildest Dreams Taylor versions. Big fan of that. Right Where You Left Me, the bonus track. Also a big fan of that. Those are my favorites off this playlist. I've been listening to them on repeat for 2 days, so I'm sure I'll get tired of them very soon. That's usually what I do with songs, is I just listen to them until I hate them. On repeat. Usually 2 to 3 at a time. That's why I hate when people get in the car with me and then I'm always like, hey, play whatever you want. And they're like, no, we can listen to your music. And I'm like, we don't know, because it's going to be weird because I've been listening to the same 2 songs on repeat and this is a 30-minute drive and you can't do that with somebody else. You know what I mean? Admin are the real bullies. I'm a 2nd-year teacher and run our middle school's gay, straight. You're literally naming all the ones I've had on repeat lately. Oh my God, hi twin. You would love folklore. I also do this. I'm glad I'm not alone in that other people are doing this. I'm a 2nd-year teacher and I run our middle school as a GSA. That's a gay straight alliance. Because I'm younger and social support for the students in a school and community that isn't very accepting, kids feel comfortable speaking with me and sharing what's going on. In the course of 3 days, I had 2 situations where students came to me and said they felt they were being bullied by other students. I reported both incidents to admin, then was called down to the office the next day. Apparently, my first report ended up being unfounded, and because of this, admin told me I wasn't allowed to use the word bullying anymore, even though I used that word as it's the word the students used in their description to me. I had to sit in the office with both administrators and give my definition of bullying, explain why the kids told me about these incidents and what I'm doing that's leading students to keep telling me they're getting bullied. All of this was done in an accusatory manner and was clearly not because admin was glad students felt comfortable talking with an adult about what's going on. Because of the meeting, it was made clear to me that admin did not want me reporting bullying and basically led basically led me to end up sweeping kids' reports under the rug because admin did not want to hear about it. This is in Chicago public schools. I've heard like rough things about like the systems in Chicago public schools, especially around like reporting things and stuff like that. I've heard it's very much sketchy, very much sus, very much not really like good. Content warning, violence in a classroom. So behavior is a huge problem where I'm at, and I wanted to list some behaviors my students have had and later received little to no consequences for doing because of admin. Student yelled and screamed at the top of their lungs, then left the classroom. They came back in. They threw a pencil at the teacher, me, from across the room. Granted, this student has severe mental health issues, but he continued on in classes for the rest of the day. I always get the vibe that admin just want to pretend bullying happens at other schools and not theirs. You can fucking say that louder. That's absolutely what it is. They're like, children at our school would never bully. We would know. And then when you tell them, they're like, that doesn't sound like them. I think you're lying. Student shoved scissors into another student's, threatening to beat the shit out of them. Student was told by admin that he needed to leave the classroom, but told the student he could leave when he's ready. That one kind of confused me a little bit. Student was running around my classroom and broke a lamp. I asked the student to pay for a replacement. Admin told me that it was not appropriate since there was no consequence. So there was no consequence, not even a detention. Bro, imagine breaking a lamp at school and not getting in trouble. I would literally cry. I remember one time, and I was in 6th grade science, we were doing this thing where we were like spinning marbles around, and I like spun one and it popped off the thing and fell on the ground and we couldn't find it. And I was so embarrassed and I wanted to cry. And my teacher was like, you better find it or you're going to have to pay for it. And I was literally like searching all around the floor and like moving everyone's stuff everywhere trying to find this fucking marble. And I was like freaking out, like about to cry. And then I never found it, and then class was over, and she just let me leave. And then like a week later, I found it in my backpack. Like I think it fell and landed in my backpack, and I never fucking told a soul. This is the first time I'm telling anyone is to you right now, because I was like, if I go bring this to her, she's going to think I was lying and I stole it. So I just never brought it up again. How did I not get identified as someone with social anxiety earlier in life? God. Or you tell them who's doing the bullying and they're like, I know their parents, that kid isn't a bully. Like that means anything, literally. Okay. Student was running around my classroom, broke a lamp. We already did that one. Many times there has been students threatened to fight other students during X time, and admin has been aware and let it happen without separating or avoiding any parties. Those are just some. Obviously, there's so much more detail. It probably looks like we're not doing our jobs as teachers, but yeah, you just got to take my word for it that we do all the tier 1 interventions as we can. Also, the amount of times I've been called too sensitive to be a teacher by my admin team. Sarcastic smiley. This is from Miss Van in Iowa. Your admin to dangerous student behavior. This is one of my favorite memes. I love this meme. It has this purple thing around it, and I meant to get rid of it, but like I was making these slides so last minute that I just like didn't have time. So I was like, whatever, they can just stay there. It's fine, everything's fine. Thanks for the follows. XOXO Gossip Girl. Okay, so our new principal is here, has never formally introduced herself to my students. For context, I teach elementary school, so they're very interested and curious about their principals. I invited her into my classroom to read back in September, and she's never come in. That makes me so sad that these little kids are like, who's this grown-up? And she's like, fuck them, whatever. Like, go read to the kids. You're an elementary school principal. Isn't that like why you're an elementary school principal? So you can read to kids? For context, I teach elementary school, like we said, blah, blah, blah. She never came in. She roams the halls, but I've never seen her get involved with student activities unless she's addressing a behavior. I was lucky to grow up with principals who would come outside to recess, learn everyone's name, and make a point to come into classrooms to interact. I don't really care that she also hasn't bothered to get to know the staff, but the kids deserve an interactive principal. On top of all this, students were excited to meet her recently as I told them she'd been coming to watch me teach. This was one of 3 formal observations that I need this year and have been struggling to schedule them with her. I spent time picking the perfect lesson and she no call, no showed. I think it's so fucking rude when an admin no call, no shows your not even your evaluation, your observation, and then they don't send you an email afterwards. Like if you were supposed to come observe my classroom and I told my kids you were coming and all this and then you just don't even say anything after not showing up, that's so unprofessional. I would have loved my principal to come read to my classes in high school. I love my high school principals. I think that could be kind of a vibe, honestly. On top of all this, the students were excited to meet her. Recently, I told them she was coming. Oh, I already said this. How awkward to have my young students asking me why she didn't come and if she's going to reschedule. She saw me in the hall less than an hour after and ignored me. Teachers to their students after being let down by admin once again. I hated this feeling. I would always feel so embarrassed and I would feel so awkward whenever like my administrators would say they were going to do something and then they didn't, and then I was just in front of all the kids and I was like, hi, this is very awkward. My 8-month-old son and I were sick with the flu. I sent a group text to my 3-person admin team calling out and letting my team know where the emergency plans were. My principal mistakenly made a separate text with me and one other admin saying, if I ever act like my last name, please slap me. I hate the woe is me folk. Why would she ask her team to pull those sub plans? I did not respond and instead reported it to HR. I asked to be transferred. They made her apologize. That's it. This is in Atlanta, Georgia. This is crazy to me that an administrator would say that. Like, you're letting your team know where the emergency sub plans are. Like, that's the whole point, is that they're emergency sub plans for emergencies, like the one you're in where you and your 8-month-old son have the flu. I would consider that an emergency to use emergency sub plans for. But accidentally texting the person that you're talking shit about is literally the worst feeling in the world. I've done it multiple times. I'm going to tell you, like, okay, next time I'll just bring the flu to school. I'm going to tell you how to save yourself. So I saw this on Twitter and I've used it before. If you take a screenshot of a text, one time I sent someone a photo of themselves. This is pretty close to that. Let's say me and you are fighting. I take a screenshot of our text and I send it to you. This is how you save it. You just got to send immediately after you go, just wanted to send you a screenshot so you can see how fucking crazy you look. One time I did it and it worked because I was trying to send a screenshot to my friend and then I accidentally sent it to the person I was fighting with, and then I said that and they were like, you're such a fucking bitch, and I was like, yeah, I know. But yeah, if you ever send someone a screenshot of their own text, that's how you can save it, is just tell them you were trying to show them how crazy they look. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. It was some work shit too when that happened. It wasn't when I was a teacher, it's when I worked at a hotel. But I was shocked that it worked. When it worked, I was like, okay, God was looking out. How did that just happen? Oh my fucking God. I want to look through these little emoji things. This is very new to me. That's kind of a fun vibe. Hotel staff drama is always giving the highest level. It's because we're all sleep deprived. That's really what it was. Like, we would all get heat exhaustion every day. Like, literally, emotes, yeah. We would all get heat exhaustion every single day because we were working in the Georgia heat. And, like, all of us, not all of us, I wasn't really doing this. A lot of people were, like, partying a lot, drinking very heavily, using substances very heavily. So, like, that and then working like crazy. Like, and then also a lot of caffeine, like, just any little thing will set you off, and drama just gets going, you know? Like, it truly, drama was unmatched there. Truly unmatched. I'm looking at the emotes, sorry. Why are all of them like men? Lots of men on here. I'm not loving that. Here's a Black Lives Matter one. That one can stay. Okay, we'll focus. So throughout high school, I was always really reluctant to ask questions in front of the entire class. Most of the time, I would just hope someone would ask the same question I was thinking. I never asked questions in Algebra 2, and one day I lucked out and the girl sitting in the front happened to ask the same question I had. The teacher, who also doubled as one of the high school's baseball coaches, responded to her question, if you're asking me that question, this is this far into your high school career, you should be in remedial math. It costs $0 to not be a dick. It costs absolutely nothing to not be a dick. It's free to not be a dick to your students. Needless to say, that legitimized my fear of asking questions in class. Thankfully, I'm in college now and have grown out of that fear. I'm a middle school. If you're new to Twitch, you should look up Better TTV and Franker Z-Face for better third-party emotes. The Twitch site emotes are kind of lame. Oh, thank you. Why is it always math teachers / coaches who pull that shit? I don't know. Maybe it's a men thing. I'm a middle school 6 to 8 art teacher. This semester I was given one class with 7 behavioral students, 5 low-functioning special ed students out of 21 total students, and no paras or any help of any kind. Throw in your normal mix of rowdy 6th graders. I have 6 who I don't have to worry about causing a problems or needing extra assistance. I have never in my life cried after a class until the first week I had this group because they're so overwhelming. 12 students that need 100% of my attention at all times is way too much for any any teacher. We can barely get through the simplest of lessons because I'm constantly putting out fires from the behavioral students and then trying to give extra support to the special education kiddos when I can. The poor few students who listen and do their work are being robbed of their art time because we can't even function with markers, let alone anything that makes a mess. When talking to admin, they agreed the class needed to be split up more, and I talked to our counselor and our team about making some switches. My counselor moved one student. She told me there wasn't anything that she could do and that she's had sixth graders for a lesson. She bribes them with candy, and that seems to work. This counselor tried giving me classroom management advice by bribing kids with candy. This isn't the first time that she has done this because she doesn't want to switch students. I still have this class and I'm drowning. I've reached out to other teachers for ideas, but nothing ever works. Admin never has time to meet with me about the class either. I was already resigning at the end of May, but this class makes me want to leave and not come back at the end of the day. Why is bribing with candy always what they say? Because it's the only thing they know how to do. Like, most administrators have been out of the classroom for so long that they literally do not know how to behavior management. Like, they do not know how to behavior management without being authoritarian, and they don't know what to do because a lot of my administrators, I would eavesdrop on them and they'd be like, back when I was a teacher, you would just call a parent, they would beat the kid's ass and it'd be handled. Like, nowadays, you can't even blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's the best we can fucking do is getting their parents to beat them. Like, I think we can achieve a little higher than that. Admins are teachers that failed up. Bro. Ugh, I hate it here. Okay, I teach in a Title I let me catch up with the chat. Kids have no intrinsic motivation. Admin, let's promote that with extrinsic motivation. On the last day of high school, my math teacher of 3 years told me I was too lazy for smarts to really be worth anything. Turns out I had crippling ADHD. Admins are teachers that failed up. Should we be calling CPS on them for allowing child abuse? That was a very good question. I teach in a Title I turnaround elementary school. This year has been wild for behavior like everywhere else. Everyone is still processing so much trauma from the last few years and all the trauma our kids already experience. In 4th and 5th grade, there's so many behavior calls made to remove students because they are preventing learning from happening that our first quarter essentially showed that no one was learning for the whole 9 weeks. In that time, 2/3 of the 5th grade teachers quit. One was replaced with our ESC teacher who quit last week. Woohoo. I think ESC is special education. Since no one is really applying to be a teacher right now, much less applying at our school to be a teacher, it became clear that one of the 5th grade classes was going to be taught with a revolving door of administrators as teachers. Once they realized this, they decided to move all the students who were continually disrupting 5th grade and a few from 4th grade into the class with an admin and move all the students who aren't 2+ grade levels behind into a real 5th grade class. I wanted to read this again. Exceptional student ed, yeah, it's special ed. Thank you. Okay, so once they realized this, they decided to move all the students who were continuously disrupting 5th grade and a few from 4th grade into the class with admin and move all of the students who aren't 2+ grade levels behind into the real 5th grade class. Okay, I think I get it. Real 5th grade classes, I get it now. They basically turned the admin class into like their dumping ground class of kids that they just like don't want to teach or deal with, I guess. So what we have is an unofficial EBD, that's like emotional behavior something, without proper supports. Admin, the reading intervention teachers, etc., who rotate through there, dread it every day. But after that change, I, 4th grade teacher, haven't had to call for assistant once. Everyone is back on track in the regular rooms. The mishmash class gets almost exclusively small group instructions, and our administrators are honestly benefiting from being in class more regularly. Like, it's all horrible, and I'm sure illegal in some way, but it's working, question mark. That's the iconic. It's all horrible, and I'm sure it's illegal in some way, but it's working. Emotional behavior disability. Thank you, Quarter Life Crisis. Quarter Life Crisis is the #1 student. All y'all are really trying to be that girl, and none of y'all are that girl as Quarter Life Crisis 24 is. They are that girl. This is the only story I've ever told my therapist that received a concerned reaction. P.S. My admin genuinely rocks, which I know is not common. This is in Northwest Florida. Amazing. I wish this happened everywhere. Yeah, this story, like, I like that this is a positive one, like, kind of. Like, this is definitely, I feel like this story is administrators and teachers making the most out of what they were handed. Like, they should not be in this situation, but it seems like everyone involved is, like, trying the best that they can. You know what I mean? Which is great. I like to see that. Oh, this one's crazy. This person was a fucking bitch. Okay, this one's long and I'm very sorry. Do not apologize. Do not apologize. Do not apologize for the long stories. Okay. Important exposition. Florida is getting new standards next year. My district bought a new elementary reading curriculum this year. I teach 4th grade at a Title I turnaround elementary school. I think this is from the same person as before. Not 100% sure though. Florida. Florida is killing me. The best standards. I had to get up out of there. I found out about that and I was like, you do not have to worry about me. You do not have to worry about me. I was like, I have spent 3 years of my life learning these fucking U.S. history standards. I'm not doing this shit again. I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it. It's not an option. Okay. Sorry my computer's breathing so loud. I'm in a PD about them right now. They're not a vibe. Okay, my district bought new elementary reading curriculum. I teach 4th grade at a Title I turnaround elementary school. We have a mandatory 1.5 hours of planning after school every Tuesday and Thursday with people from the ELA and math departments, respectively. The first few ELA plannings were us learning the new reading curriculum. That makes sense. As we got into the year, we continued to get retaught how to use the reading curriculum. That does not make sense. I love the clarifiers. That does make sense. This one does not. The second one does not. We expressed that we didn't need instruction because A, we're not stupid. B, this curriculum is based on the new standards, which is not going to help our students with the FSA, which is based on the current standards. And we told them we needed to work on our standards-based lessons using the current standards. Nothing changed. I also saw this, like I had to go to a couple days of professional development before the first day of school, and all of them were about the new standards, but we're not using the new standards this year, which I found very odd. I also realized the teacher in charge of assisting our grade level, Person A, had only ever taught in a very rich, high-achieving school, and her boss, Person B, never taught elementary school, only high school English, also in high-performing schools. How do you get to be the head of an elementary ELA department if you've never taught it? Calms down. I love the way the person wrote this. I hope you're on here and watching this. If you're on here and watching this, say something in the chat. All right. Before Christmas, Person A tries to reteach us to use the book and how to turn and talk. We know how to do turn and talks. I brought up our most recent walkthrough with the state where we received very high praise about how we lead our turn and talks. I did not receive a response as to why we were being retaught how to do it. Then Person A made me pull up my most recent data on a random student and would not let go of the fact that the data showed the student need help with phonics, that I should be teaching small groups solely about multisyllabic word. What is a turn and talk? Okay, so I love how they tell us to do the most basic things. A turn and talk is literally when you tell the kids, okay, turn and talk to your neighbor about this. So like for history, I could say like, we just learned the 4 causes of the Civil War. I want you to turn and talk with your neighbor and tell me which cause do you think is the most important. Like it's when you have them turn and chat with somebody with some kind of goal for their conversation. You know what I mean? Like either to answer a question or to come up with something or something like that. Yeah, it doesn't need a name. There's so many things in education that I'm like, you literally didn't have to name that, but okay. Before Christmas, Person A tries to teach us the book. Oh, we did this. Okay, Person A made me put the most recent data about the multisyllabic words. Wow, they retaught that. Whack. Yeah, it's like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like you could see 2 examples, and that's like really, you don't have much else to go over that. I explained that I didn't think that the data was accurate because the student consistently reads fluently and is an avid reader in general. Then Person A said, I said phonics, not fluency. So I tried to be amiable and said, remember, my background is not in education, so I may be misunderstanding. I was under the impression that phonics and fluency are essentially the same thing. And then she said, you don't know what phonics is, in such a condescending tone that I just stopped speaking. I don't get why school admin hate the teaching of phonics. Kids need to learn phonics to read as well. Don't get me started on phonics. It confuses me so much. I almost failed my certification class because of phonics, but then I ended up getting kicked out of my certification program for quitting. So I wish I could go back in time and tell old me, like, hey, just don't do your work for that class because you're going to get kicked out of this program. But here we are. Okay, so two other teachers present text our admin to come immediately because they were worried I was going to fight her. I'm typically the peacemaker. Admin fought for me. Person A left defeated. Her boss / head of the elementary ELA department, Person B, was then present at all of our meetings. After Christmas, one of our weekly meetings was just with me and Person A for the first hour because of lots of scheduling conflicts, etc. Our reading unit was all poetry. We had a test coming up that Friday that was meant to be based on our current week of teaching. Person A was trying to get me to teach a lesson about first-hand versus second-hand accounts that took one of our stories and compared it to old news coverage. I told her, sorry, I need to drink water. This is like super typical school bullshit. I remember this one. This is so typical. Just wait, it gets weird. I told her absolutely not because, one, the story in question was a part of our lessons 2 weeks prior. I didn't want to go back in an old text and use it to teach her new lesson right before a test. The other reason is that the assessment limits clearly state that the sources should not be videos. And remember, she said she was going to use that news video. She hates it when I pull out assessment limits because I'm a second-year teacher who knows the standards better than her. According to our district-made framework for the test, which was to be written by person B and had not been released, the standard would not be on the test. I even rechecked the framework in this meeting and showed her it was not on the list of standards assessed that week. We were in the middle of teaching a whole week on theme and figurative language and poetry, what the kids need more help with. So what our students needed was more theme and figurative language lessons. Her only response was, so you're saying that if it's not on the test, it's not a worthwhile skill for your students to learn? She was really brave because it was just me and I had had my Wheaties that day. I laid out all my reasons for her again and respectfully made it very clear that neither I nor my other team teacher would be teaching that lesson. SpongeBob Transition Man music. I love the person that wrote this here, an icon. 2 days later, the test is released. Remember, this was the test after the framework exclusively had us teaching poetry for an entire week. It's got 1 poem with 4 questions and 2 nonfiction, highly technical text about the process of making cheese. One was a first-hand account, the other was a second-hand account. All other questions were about these nonfiction tests, and 5 of them were comparing first-hand versus second-hands. Naturally, I went right back to the framework, and it had now been updated to include that standard. So the standard that originally was not on there is now magically on there. Why isn't it going? I 100% believe that these fuckers purposely changed the test and frameworks to spite me for knowing my shit better than them and for refusing to teach that stupid out-of-standard lesson. Shit like this used to happen to me all the fucking time. All the fucking time this would happen to me. Not only did my kids bomb that test, I can only assume that every other 4th grader in my district that spent a week learning about poetry only to have their abilities measured by making inferences about why renin is important in the cheese-making process. This is not the end of this saga, but this story is already too long. I can share more another time. This is in northwestern Florida. Bro, always share the long stories. And like, of course they fucking do this. Like, of course they change the test and fuck the kids over. Of course they do. Of course, instead of taking accountability, they changed the test and just said, fuck it. Of course. Because it doesn't affect them. It doesn't affect their kids. It doesn't affect their paycheck. And it doesn't affect, I'm on my 3rd update in this series, I think. It doesn't affect them at all. So they just do it because it'll make their life easier. Okay, this one is just kind of a person like venting, which they said at the end, but that's fine. That's what we're here for. Okay, this is a story. I would be having words with person A. No, literally. Like, I will be having words with all of these people. Okay, this is a story from when I was a student in elementary school. I'm 22 now, and isn't nearly as serious as a lot of the ones that you have read in the past, but I feel like a gaslighting experience I had at a young age that affects me to this day. I was in 2nd grade, like any elementary school kid. There were other girls that I didn't get along with. One of them was cousins with my closest friend, so looking back, she was probably jealous of our friendship. However, she would always say mean things to me and make me feel horrible about my appearance, so I stopped playing with them on the playground and hanging around them altogether. In our grade level, 2 of the teachers would switch and teach each other's classes for certain subjects. We had different teachers for science. One day when we got back from after lunch recess, our science teacher came into our class to talk with my teacher. I figured it was something pertaining to school and teaching, which was common. They started looking at me while talking and asked me to come into the hallway with them. When I got into the hallway, the girl who was bullying me was there, and I was so confused because I'd been deliberately avoiding her at all costs. I'm a Pisces, so I don't do confrontation. I'm a Capricorn, and I love confrontation. But anyway, apparently this girl had told her teacher that during recess I was following her around and calling her a racial slur. I was literally 7 years old at the time and didn't even know what the word meant. I was made to apologize for something I didn't say, and even though I was upset by the interaction and that I was in tears, the other girl was just smiling smugly. I got written up, and my teacher told me she was going to call my mom. When I got in the car after latchkey that day, I asked my mom, if I tell you something that happened to me today, will you believe me? She was, of course, concerned, so I told her So I, she was of course concerned, so I told her about the incident and she was pissed. She set up a meeting with my teacher and had to leave work early one day to talk with my teacher after school to defend me. Side note, I had several other issues with this particular teacher and also had undiagnosed ADHD, so I was always reprimanded for talking when everyone else was, but I was the only one to get in trouble because I was the loudest one that she could hear. 2 years later, one of the girl's best friends also had issues with me that were unknown origin to me. We came in from recess again, and I was pulled aside in a similar manner as before and asked what I said to her. Again, I avoided this group of people, so I was genuinely confused and said that I hadn't seen her at recess. The other girl in this scenario was in a different class, and her teacher said it sounded like it started with an H, but actually starts with a W. Whore. Once again, I was a child, 9 years old, and had no idea what she was talking about. I racked my brain for it, what it might be, but came up with nothing. I now know what she's talking about, LMAO. The girl who accused me of saying this had an older sister. I didn't have any older siblings, so I'm assuming that's where she learned it. I was forced to apologize yet again for something I never said or knew the meaning of. I feel so bad for kids when stuff like this happens because they have like literally no rights. I went home and asked my mom, what word starts with a W if it sounds like it starts with an H? And naturally she was like, what? What child is using that word? Please, teachers need brains. Jesus Christ. Sorry. She naturally was like, what? So I had to explain the situation again, and she was once again pissed. I don't even remember what happened with this situation. I don't think I received any punishment for it, but the fact that it happened was just super infuriating. In the grand scheme of things, these incidents weren't super terrible. Oh my God, thank you, Lauren, that this was you. These incidents aren't super terrible, but it's making me question my reality along with a false reality to apologize to my bullies. Rocked my fucking world at the time. Even typing all of this out was so cathartic, so thank you for providing this space for us to trauma dump. Love you, bestie. I also love you, bestie. If it's one thing, it's a place for us to trauma dump. You are the inspo behind this meme, Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. This is us. This is you right now, Lauren, and this is me. I don't know how tall you are. I'm 5'1", so it probably wouldn't look like this, but this is me holding you right now of everyone's trauma dumping. Everyone feels free to trauma dump on me at any time because it's in a Google form, so I will only look at it when I'm ready to receive it. You know? I feel so bad for kids in scenarios like that because no one believes them. Okay, content warning on this one. I think this might be the last one or close to it. This story revolves a lot around shady nonsense, so buckle up. Some background and information. I was at a high school that was attending a program for college credit deficient students where you went to school on college campus and took college courses to get more credits while also taking high school classes. I would just like to add that this program is very small and only contained about 50 to 100 total students separated into cohorts, fully consenting trauma dumping as it should be. Period. I'm 5'9", so maybe backwards. Yeah, it is backwards, but whatever. The title of this one, I love it. Everyone thank Evie for the titles. Evie comes through on the motherfucking titles. The first day I was pulled into the office of the principal of said program, who was male, and immediately felt uncomfortable because let's just say his eyes were anywhere but my face. I was 16 at the time. It became a reoccurring thing where I would catch him looking at me in inappropriate ways to the point where I stopped coming to people in the office for anything at all. Then one day I went to the cafeteria and sat down at a lunch table and heard some of my friends talking about how they also felt uncomfortable because they had similar experiences to mine. We all decided one day to take it to his boss, so we made an appointment, went to speak with her, and she basically told us that we were making it up and that we should be more mindful of our clothing. Here's another meme. Admin when teenager, it's supposed to be teenage. Admin when teenage girls say that a male authority figure did or said something inappropriate because of you. It was your fault. Maybe if you didn't dress like that, you'd have access to an education, ma'am. It's literally the energy that they're giving. I hate it here. It got back to him and that we had told his boss about the situation, and he soon had a vendetta against all the female students in the program. We were specifically signaled out for many things. We weren't allowed the same opportunities as our male counterparts to get more credits due to surface-level excuses and just overall hostile behavior. We later found out that that last school year, there had been a concerning situation where a female student had told one of the high school teachers hired for the program that she had been groped by the same admin, and the teacher apparently went into the hallway with him and got into a screaming match that all the teachers could hear, which resulted in the teacher losing her job. My mother pulled me out of the program after I told her about it. From what I've heard, he still works there and hasn't faced any repercussions. I'm now graduated from high school and going to AC State. Congratulations on the college. Congratulations on graduating high school. Not congratulations about a creepy administrator still working in that school. That's pretty bad vibes. So one of my female students got dress coded yesterday for wearing literally a women's fitted t-shirt. No cleavage sewing, wasn't even excessively tight. You could just tell she had a chest. Our AC is out in half the building that day, and she was told to wear a sweatshirt to cover up. He still works there. I know, I hate that he still works there. We should go, like, find him. This is in Redding, California. If anyone can figure out who this dude is, let me know and I'll literally pull up. Okay, our AC was out in half the building and she was told to wear a sweatshirt to cover up. At our first staff meeting last semester, we had a huge debate about dress code where our principal literally straight up said that a t-shirt with a swastika on it would not be against the dress code because it is free speech and we weren't allowed to say anything to the student about it. They said a swastika is okay. Titties, absolutely not. The administrator really said swastika is fine. Boobs, that's where we draw the line. That's where we draw the line. That's where we draw the line. For legal purposes, you don't mean that, but we write it on. Yeah, I mean, when I say I would pull up to the school, I mean, I would arrive at the school to have a productive conversation about women's rights in the workplace and about the impact that we can have on others. Why would I mean anything other than that? This is not a violent account. Has the principal heard of hate speech? Because that's what a swastika is. Principals love to say things that they don't have any understanding about. The admin was just uncomfortable with his reaction to underage body, but not uncomfortable with fascism. Thank you, Ray Charles. That's true, because the admin was like, when I see swastika, I can still ration. When I see titties, I cannot. So one has to not be allowed. You know, like that's literally the logic there. It's like no thoughts, head empty with these fucking administrators. Dick for brain, literally. Worms. They have worms instead of a brain. I can excuse Nazis, but I draw the line at boobs. Thank you, Eliz1125. I can excuse Nazis, but I draw the line at boobs. There will be no boobs here. There will be no fun. Swastika doesn't give me the boner, though. They're like, a swastika doesn't make me feel sexually aroused. Also, we should probably stop using that word in the chat. I don't want to get, like, dinged for community guidelines or anything like that because, you know, we've already been suffering over community guidelines. I don't want to get it here, too. So we're going to move on to a different topic, please and thank you. Okay, best friend, I have like 10 plus stories to share. Well, share them. Share them. I'm actually like kind of running out of submissions, so if you want to share them, share them. That's also why I added the little QR code to make it easier for you. How about swasha? They're always policing the female body. I hate it here. Swasha, I think is fine. Okay, so I have like 10 plus stories to share with you from when I was a student with a disability to when I was an IEP advocate and now a school OT. I think that means occupational therapist who has seen some shit. But before I can get to my own story, oh, this is the one I was telling you about. This is the last one, I think. I've been watching the recordings of your last few streams and screaming about how many special education teachers have been completely lied to about their admin and fully believe IDEA is the reason they're being harmed at work. IDEA is a law about special education in Texas. This kind of misinformation leads to disabled students and adults losing rights when incorrect beliefs become pervasive. Thank you to this person for like figuring this out and bringing this to my attention. Of course, every state outlines their specific IDEA implementation differently, so I can only share the exact text from the New York special education policy, but the gist is IDEA mandates that students with, IDEA is federal. Thank you. A lot of the ones I've gotten have been from Texas. Thank you. IDEA is federal. IDEA mandates that students with disabilities have alternative disciplinary placement when their school, IDEA mandates that students with disabilities have alternative disciplinary placement when their disciplinary offense is a manifestation of the disability that the school has ultimately failed to prevent, either by not implementing the IEP with fidelity or by not developing appropriate behavior plan or both. Even with this rule in place, there is an exception for cases where the student poses a direct risk to others. If the student has directly harmed another person, they can and should still be suspended or sent to an alternative educational placement. Thank you for everyone correcting me that it's not Texas, this is federal, sorry. Schools pretend this is illegal when in reality they just see it as impossible because the student suspended for a behavior that is the manifestation of the disability. The law requires they continue to have access to their education. This might involve GASP, paying a teacher to develop homebound lessons for the student, or the school footing the bill for temporary placement at an alternative school. So a lot of the submissions I've gotten that are like, my admin says we cannot expel them because it goes against IDEA, that's probably not the case. Your admin probably just doesn't want to, not your admin probably, but like the district and the systems don't want to pay the money to be like compliant with idea. Usually the school will just go with alternative discipline because they're worried about the paperwork and the legal ramifications. Yeah, so it's like out of laziness, not out of like wanting to do a good job. When a district considers those costs out of the question, they say suspension would be illegal because they know they would not pony up the funding to provide legally mandated educational services during the suspension. This is setting up teachers, the student with a disability, and the school community for failure by continuing to put everyone at risk. I feel like I've heard this lie about suspending students with IEPs mentioned in like 5+ stories on your series now, and people don't even know that it's another hugely unethical action that's happening to them and their students. I also want to say, I love the way this was phrased. I love how this did not put the blame on the teachers and it did not put the blame on me. I would have accepted the blame because low-key I should have looked into this more. Like high-key I should have looked into this more. But I love that you're not blaming the teachers and being like, you didn't research this, and you're putting it on the admin. Thank you for that, because I think a lot of teachers like blame each other when in reality we're like pointing fingers at the wrong people, and it's like not our fault that we're all fucking up because we're all being set up to fail. And I really think that this person that submitted this did a very good job of describing that and explaining that. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Okay, so people don't even know that's another hugely unethical action that's happening to them and their students. Please let people know to look into their state's own special education policies to find out the exact wording they need to fight back against admin pushing for this lie. For North Carolina folks, it's the DPI Policies Governing Services for Children with Disabilities, NC 1500 and the specific section is NC 1504-2.1G. I don't really know what I just read, but I'm hoping that's helpful to somebody. Following IEP advocates on socials really helps for looking to quick ways to learn the rules. Oh, I should do that. If you have any IEP people that you really like, feel free to like DM them to me on Twitter, Instagram, or whatever, anything like that. Oh, I lied. We do have another one. Okay, it's my first year as a para in an extensive support needs classroom for kids with autism, while students... Thank you, Quarter Life Crisis. Star student. Everyone needs to get like Quarter Life Crisis. I'm a first-year parent in extensive support needs for kids with autism. While all the students have aggressive or escalating behavior, one student, third grade, requires much more than we can offer. In January, the kid was assigned a full-time behavior therapist, and I was told I was going to work with them. I vocalized my concern because he has harmed me in the past, and I have incident reports on file. I was assured by my safety by a board-certified behavior analyst, and the second day I worked with him in this setting, the behavior thaerapist puts her walkie-talkie down and he threw it at my face. It nailed me next to my left eye. 911 got called because I was bleeding profusely. Thankfully I was okay. Only a liaison, I'm not a doctor, that got glued together in a major black eye. It's been 3 months. I will quit on the job if they make me work with him again. This is from Boogie Boggle, who's a para. And that's their TikTok. They're in California. Okay, that is all of them. I'll hang out here for like a few more minutes. I really liked this stream. Good vibes only per usual. I feel like I'm starting to get to know people in the chat, which I love. I'm a little bit in my feelings that I got kicked out of the TikTok Creator Fund. That sucks for me. But if you have a story you want to submit, there is the link to, or let me put the link to do it in the chat. Hold on. Here's the link. Let me put that back. Okay. Oh my God, you submitted an update about your department chair and you might have a final update tomorrow. Oh my God. Okay, here's the Google form if anyone wants it. Oh, why did they kick you? TikTok hates to see a girl boss thriving. So I think I got kicked from the Creator Fund. It said it was for violating community guidelines. But I haven't really done that. I missed the first units. Yeah, okay. Oh shit. I just like need my desk. Let me retell the TikTok Creator Fund story, because I have a feeling that the 73 people who are here right now are not the same people who are here at the beginning, but if you are, thanks for hanging out for 2 hours and 17 minutes. I'm obsessed with you. Okay, so basically, I think the Creator Fund, it's kind of like a 3 strikes you're out thing, like 3 violation of community guidelines, you're out. So I got a notification on Sunday morning that said you have been, like, you are suspended from the TikTok Creator Fund until October, which is 6 months. And I was like, what the fuck? And it said due to violating community guidelines. And I scrolled through my videos and nothing has gotten taken down from violating community guidelines. So I submitted an appeal and was like, I haven't gotten any notifications that I violated community guidelines. Cringe type. Of course, I've been here the whole time. Can't miss out on the tea. Thank you for being here. So I submitted an appeal and was like, I never violated community guidelines. Like, I don't know why this happened. I'm sure this was a mistake. I did the same thing on Twitter. I DM'd the little TikTok support and I tweeted at them. I have not heard back about any of those. But I did a little more like digging and thinking. I looked through more of my notifications and I found a notification that said this video has been removed for or it said a video from your I resigned from teaching playlist has been removed for violating community guidelines. And then when I tried to click on the notification, it like wasn't taking me to a video. I go look at that playlist, nothing's been taken down for violating community guidelines. And then I remembered that I posted a video on like Friday or Saturday. I think it was Friday. I posted a video on Friday. Let me find it. It's this video. It's like is your former supervisor reporting you to be petty? No, I don't think that's it. I don't think he knows how to do that. I think he's too dumb. Sorry. This video, it's like a couple of my Twitch clips. Like, it's like highlights from Twitch, because obviously like I want people to know about this. I want people to join this. So I posted that video and the caption said like, oh, it said something about Twitch in it. I don't even remember. And then it was getting 0 views. It was like literally 0 for like an hour, which is weird. And so I posted it on Twitter and I was like, hey, is this video showing up on my page? It has 0 views. And everyone was like, yeah, we don't see it. So I saved the video to my phone and then deleted it off of my account and then re-uploaded it without a caption and without adding it to that playlist. And then it went up, got views. It has a fair number of likes on it. Like, everything appears to be normal. And I think that was the video that they pinged for violating community guidelines. But I've heard a lot of other creators, like, they started having problems on TikTok when they started promoting cross-platform things. Like, when people are talking about their Instagram or their Twitch, TikTok doesn't want people coming off of TikTok. So they start, like, suppressing you and causing problems for you. And at the same time that I posted that video, I changed my bio to, instead of saying like history fan or something like that, I changed it to history streamer. And then all of that happened like immediately after that. So that's just like very weird and sus to me. I submitted the appeal. We shall see. I usually make like $250 to $300 a month on the creator fund. This has happened with people promoting YouTube and shit. Low-key shady as fuck. They got feds on you? No, literally. So I'm hoping I get back in. I usually make like $250 to $300 a month on the creator fund. So like, it does suck, but it's not earth-shattering. And like, I don't know. I've never had anything like really bad happen to me on TikTok. Like, I've never had anything super scary happen. I've never had anything like this happen. And I kind of knew like it's going to happen eventually. Like, that's just kind of the name of the game of like creating stuff on the internet, is like shit like this just happens to people. So I'm really glad that I didn't get banned from posting. I'm really glad that I didn't get locked out of my account or banned from my account or anything like that. Like, honestly, if my only bad thing is that I don't have creator fund money for a couple of months, like, that's not the end of the world. I just started a new job where I'm making much more money. Like, I'm in a comfortable position right now. So like, I'm annoyed about it, and I'm definitely going to stop talking about Twitch on TikTok. Like, I tried to post about it some today. The videos just always do bad. I also just feel gross about it. I don't like the promo. I don't like the selling myself. I just like to come on here and have a fun time. So I'm just going to stop talking about it on TikTok just because it's just not fun to me. Like, just doing it is not fun. I don't like it. Like, I don't like making TikToks about Twitch. I like making TikToks and I like doing Twitch, but I don't like making videos about Twitch on TikTok because it's just like, bleh. I hate promo. Aw, J. Marianne, you were one of the first accounts I followed on TikTok. Thank you. That made my day. If Miss Redacted gets you off TikTok, I'm going to be pretty upset. Yeah, like, so I'm just going to chill. Like, I'm going to keep doing my Twitch thing. I'm going to stop talking about it on TikTok. I'm just going to keep doing my TikTok thing. Whatever. But I'm going to go. I've been on here. I was on here longer today than I have been usually. It was good. But I'm going to go. I need to eat some dinner. Can we submit college stories? Yes. Any education stories? Any education stories. Super happy I followed you today, so I'll know even if you stop referencing on TikTok. I'm going to keep doing Wednesdays. So like, Mondays, education horror stories. Wednesdays are going to be history stuff. I'll talk about it on Twitter. I post the memes a lot and stuff like that on Twitter, so I'll talk about it there. But on TikTok, it's just doing more harm than good, and I'm not having a good time with it, and it's like stressing me out, so I'm just gonna stop, because my number one priority is always to have fun. If I'm not having a good time, I shouldn't be doing it, because you only have one life on this earth, and you should be happy, and you should do things that make you happy. So if it's like causing bad vibes for me, I don't do it. So I'm not gonna do that. But I really like doing this, so I'm gonna keep being on Twitch. I have college admin horror stories I forgot about. Here's the link to the Google form if anyone wants. I'm going to hang out for a couple more seconds before I go. The stream always makes me want to be a streamer. I really like it on here. I'm having a fun time. Damn, it's almost 10 p.m. Okay, I really have to go. I need to like eat something and then go to bed because I need to work out tomorrow because I didn't work out today. Okay, have a great night. Love you. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Actually, that's terrible advice. Live your best life. Bye. Sleep tight.